now.
Past 5 years, we have witnessed the birth of countless excellent teams and players in all 5 major regions. They are still remembered by us to this day. At the same time, we also remember our fans who loved us from the very beginning. On the occasion of this 5th anniversary, let's turn back the clock to the starting point of PUBG Mobile Esports, the Southeast Asia region, where all the stories began. As the first world-class event, PUBG Mobile Star Challenge gathered professional players from all over the world. With continuous development, the 2019 PUBG Mobile Club Open Global Finals is undoubtedly the most exciting event.
2019 Fall Split Global Finals, ladies and gentlemen, give yourself a round of applause!
Among the countless rising stars, one shined particularly bright. Bigatron Red Aliens, a team from Indonesia,
Bigatron Red Aliens!
just got first place in the PMCO Southeast Asia Fall Championship, earning the chance to compete in the PMCO Global Finals in Malaysia. In the subsequent prelim stage, intense competition kicked off immediately. And finally, they advanced to the Grand Finals in second place. BTR demonstrated impeccable strength in the competition. By the end, BTR was leading the lobby by a significant 106 points, bringing the first ever championship title to the SEA region.
Di saat itu siapa yang gak kenal dengan nama Bigatron gitu? Tim yang punya segudang prestasi, mereka juara dunia di PMCO Global Finals tahun 2019. Mereka banyak banget melahirkan pemain-pemain berbakat, Zuxi, Luxi, Ryzen, Microboy. Terus habis itu Zuxi, Luxi juga saat mereka menjadi juara dunia, mereka berada di masa prime-nya mereka banget.
PUBG Mobile Esports always strives to develop and grow year after year. That's why we made sure to continue the support and build the SEA region. In 2020, the improvement of the competitive schedule introduced the World League, which later became the World Invitational. We also launched the PUBG Mobile Pro League, where even more outstanding teams joined the competitive stage. In the 2020 PMWL, BTR once again clinched the championship in the East. This had given Southeast Asia the title of the strongest region in the world. They hoped to continue their legacy at the PUBG Mobile Global Championship, the pinnacle of PUBG Mobile Esports. However, BTR was not able to repeat the performance from the previous year.
Two teams is going to get goal left. This round, winner, chicken dinner, Nova XQL.
With the rise of Team Nova, countless brilliant moments were had, but this also left many players with regret.
After BTR Red Alien won at the Global Championship in Kuala Lumpur, we thought C region was the best. We thought nobody could beat C region except maybe RRQ Athena, maybe Illuminate the Murder, maybe Mega Conqueror, but C region was the best at the time. And we get to the league. We heard of a team called Nova. We thought maybe this team is not that good. On the contrary, they owned all the teams. They were very good.
Let's move forward to the year 2021. With continuous efforts, more teams and players joined the Pro League. For example, Xavier, who placed third in the 2020 PMWI East League, also secured second place in the PMGC East League. FaZe Clan also made their debut on the world stage.
Có thể nói 2021 là năm thành công nhất của Dingo Xavier trên đấu trường quốc tế, khẳng định vị thế và tên tuổi của Việt Nam vô cùng mạnh mẽ. Còn với FaZe Clan, đây là năm đầu tiên họ đặt chân đến với giải đấu cao cấp nhất của PUBG Mobile, nhưng lại khiến tất cả những đối thủ khác đều phải dè chừng và e ngại.
Undoubtedly, the year 2022 has brought the greatest changes to the SEA region. Vampire Esports emerged, dominating 2022 PMWI, winning both the main and after-party tournaments, while also setting records for most chicken dinners, most eliminations, and more. They were not only facing competitors from the SEA region, but from all over the world. Everyone was talking about VPE and wondering if they can maintain their performance at the Global Championship or if it was just a stroke of good luck. On the last day of the 2022 PMGC Grand Finals, VPE won 3 chicken dinners alone, moving from the bottom of the table to 6th place, achieving the best result for the SEA region. They pulled off another miracle, but sadly, it was not enough to win it all. In 2023, VPE continued their impressive performance. They once again won everything at the 2023 PMWI.
2023 PUBG Mobile World Invitational Champions, Vampire Esports!
ก็ย้อนกลับไปในปีที่แล้วนะครับเอาจริงก็ผมมองว่าน่าจะโอ้โหไม่มีใครที่จะมองว่าทางฝั่งตัวแวมไพร์จะซักเซสได้ถึงขนาดนั้นนะครับเพราะยุคนั้นเหมือนทุกคนจะโฟกัสไปทางฝั่งตัวอินฟินแล้วก็เฟซแคนที่มีแบบว่าผู้เล่นดังๆนะครับแล้วก็ถ้าจำมันได้เหมือน PMGC ปีล่าสุดมากินไก่แบบเบิ้ลติดๆกันในวันสุดท้ายเหมือนเอาจริงน้องๆก็เคยบอกเลยว่าเฮ้ยเราเครียดกันไปหรือเปล่ามันเป็นตัวเองดีกว่าเล่นแบบปล่อยจอยได้แบบจอยเลยสุดท้าย3กระติดจบอันดับ6ของโลกซะอย่างนั้นนี่นะครับแวมไพร์สปอร์ตเชื่อจัด
But don't forget, Alter Ego, an Indonesian team, showed a very strong performance by winning the Super League twice. The SEA Super League was an upgrade to the previous championship, which by many is considered to be the most competitive league in PUBG Mobile. They could potentially become the next legend of the SEA region.
Untuk dibilang legend, gua rasa belum sih untuk Alter Ego. Walaupun mereka sempat ngedapetin back-to-back champion untuk di PMSL 2023, itu menurut gua hanya sekedar untuk ngasih pembuktian gitu bahwa Indonesia tidak kehabisan pemain berbakat. Ya mungkin contohnya Rosemary gitu. Datangnya dia ke Alter Ego tuh bener-bener jadi ujung tombak untuk Alter Ego. Dan gak berhenti di Rosemary. Masih ada Alpha juga yang didatangkan oleh Alter Ego untuk mengisi kekosongan atau kekurangan dari Alter Ego. Dan gue rasa PMGC 2023 ini akan menjadi ajang Global Championship pertama gitu. untuk Rosemary dan juga si Alpha. Jadi wajib banget kita nantikan performnya mereka di PMGC 2023. Dan please di notes, pastikan tonton Alter Ego sampai akhir.
Of course, there are many more teams we haven't mentioned, but these teams will all take part in the 2023 PUBG Mobile Global Championship. So what do you think? Who will be the ultimate winner in this year's PMGC? Will they be from SEA? Well, there's only one way to find out.
Greetings, PUBG Mobile players! The long-awaited Frost Festival is about to commence. In the new version 2.9, we'll be introducing battles filled with a frosty atmosphere. Snow Battle is coming to town. Furthermore, you'll also get to experience updates to World of Wonder and Classic Mode. So let's dive right into it. In the Frost Festival, we'll be bringing you a series of snow-themed content, including a new Snowy Village-themed area, fun interactions with snow pals, and snow-themed items for more gaming fun and excitement. When miraculous December comes, the frosty world will undergo some magical changes. Stay tuned for updates. Don't miss out. First, let's take a look at the new themed area, Snowy Village. The village covers a wide area of 280 by 150 and has loads of supplies. It's located near Stalber in Erringdale, Iceborg in Livik, and Goroka in Vikendi. In addition to the buildings on the ground, the underground area of the Lucky Ice Tower is also worth exploring. Make use of the two-story layout to experience a completely new battle experience. Sound the bell in the Lucky Ice Tower, and you can even summon rewards. Additionally, the village also has a snow rail, which can help you quickly move around and gather supplies. It allows you to navigate flexibly between different areas of the village and also swiftly relocate to advantageous positions during battles for your team to counterattack more effectively. Of course, you should always remain vigilant to avoid becoming the target of an ambush. What's more, the village also features a special two-seat vehicle, the Reindeer. It's also a great choice for transportation as it allows you to swiftly move all over the map. For intense battles, we've also prepared festive and practical battle equipment for you, the Snowball Blaster and Snowboard. The Snowball Blaster can be used in many ways and has loads of functionality. When you aim it at the ground or a building, it can create a snow pile cover for you. When used on enemies, you can temporarily transform them into lively snow pals to restrict their movement. When facing bodies of water, you can use the Snowball Blaster to freeze the surface so that you can walk on it. It's definitely a practical yet entertaining weapon. After transforming into a lively snow pal, you will be unable to use firearms to do battle. You'll only be able to rely on basic actions such as walking, running, jumping, and swimming to evade enemy pursuit. It takes some time before you can revert to your human form. Let's build a snowman together. The snowboard will also bring you a whole new experience. Apart from helping you glide and move on various surfaces, it can also be used with the Snowball Blaster. Explore the many possibilities and use these two items to have all kinds of fun. We've also designed various interactive mechanics, such as searching for snow toddlers, lucky ice, and the snow blast zone. When you encounter a lucky snowman on the map, don't be in a rush to leave. There are 4 lost little snowmen hidden near the lucky snowman. Search for the 4 hidden snow toddlers and bring them back to the large snowman. You'll then receive a token of gratitude. There are lots of lucky ice scattered across the map. Shatter the ice to get the supplies inside. Try using a melee weapon to break the ice more easily. Furthermore, you'll find that snow has engulfed some red zones on the map, and the falling snow will bring about many interesting effects. Players within a snow blast zone will be transformed into a lively snow pal if they're hit by the snow. If the snow lands on the ground, a snow pile cover will be created. In this World of Wonder update, we'll be introducing a brand new transformation skill gameplay and a catch me hide and seek gameplay for you to enjoy the transformation skills to the fullest. Of course, you can also use this skill to create more interesting creations. We've also added a Snowy Village map template to celebrate the Frost Festival with creators. Additionally, we've also made some updates and improvements to gameplay devices, game parameter settings, and the editor. For more details, please follow the official PUBG Mobile community. We'll continue introducing the latest WoW content to everyone. As for Classic Mode, we've also made some improvements to vehicles, firearms, creation mode, emotes, settings, and more. First, we've enhanced the designated marksman rifles. Some DMRs can be equipped with the full auto mod to fire in full auto. We've also improved the attributes and handling of some vehicles to enhance your driving experience. We've also added a new garage mechanic. From now on, you can choose your dream ride during matches. Meanwhile, we've also added a custom SFX adjustment feature. You can adjust the volume of some sound effects to whatever best suits you. As for creation mode, we'll be introducing some quick view features for watching the victory dance and fireworks displays and the new Frozen Kingdom themed performance in order to provide players with more possibilities for creative content. Furthermore, we've expanded the emote backpack. Now you can equip more emotes before entering the battleground. That's a wrap for the main content in this new version. In addition, new content will be added to the popularity battle event, Metro Royale, and season rewards. For more details, follow our official PUBG mobile community. Snow Battle is coming to town. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
In 2020, while the eyes of most PUBG Mobile viewers were focused on Southeast Asia as well as other regions, there was one region in particular that went under the radar, the 2020 EMEA League. Numerous teams from different regions were fighting for a spot in the 2020 PMGC. Among them, the teams from the EU region were the most dazzling. Kanina Power, which had previously won 3rd place in the 2020 PMWL West League, managed to break through and eventually won 6th place in the 2020 PMGC. Class Dilge Athletics from Turkey also successfully took 8th place. For the entire EU region, this was a great start, and in the future, the EU region would grow into an even stronger region. The EU region seems to have endless potential. They always have a number of astonishingly talented newcomers. In the 2021 PMWI, in addition to the veteran team Kanina Power taking 2nd place, the newly reorganized team in 2021, Nextria,
Xenox in the smokes, the solo by themselves,
surprisingly won 3rd place.
The EU region seems to just have endless potential. There's always a number of astonishingly talented newcomers coming up through the ranks, developing their skills, and in 2021 at the PMWI, you had some of the veterans there for sure. Kanina Power taking 2nd place, an incredible performance coming through from them to get that 2nd place. But not only that, you had the reorganized team for Nextria in 2021 who won PMPL Turkey. They came 1st in their region and then were invited on the back of that to the PMWI West to take 3rd place. So these new talents working as this new roster at the time, a phenomenal resurgence there, and there's so much more left in the pipeline, I'm sure, for this region. I'm really excited for what the future has, and I can't wait to see what they've got.
In the 2021 PMGC, teams from around the world gathered once again. First of all, worth mentioning is that among all the participating countries in the grand finals, Turkey had the most with 3. Among them, teams like S2G and Nextria finished 4th and 6th respectively. This was a massive achievement. The efforts of the EU region are constantly bearing fruit. Now they just needed an opportunity.
2021 yılında Dünya Şampiyonası istediğimiz gibi başlamıştı. Çünkü West aşamasında 3 takımımızı birden ilk 6'ya sokmayı başardık ve büyük finallere 3 takımımızı göndermiştik. S2G 4. olarak buraya katılma hakkı kazanmıştı ve kadrosunda Rip7, Timber, Kalse, Sylas gibi isimler vardı. Büyük finallerde ne yapacağını çok fazla kestiremiyorduk temsilcilerimizin, çünkü dünyadaki takımların iyi performansları söz konusuydu. Büyük finallerde temsilcimiz S2G 4. olmayı başardı. Nexia 6. olmayı başardı. Maalesef Fenerbahçe ilk 8'in dışarısında kalmıştı. Ama bu takımın ileride çok iyi şeyler vaat ettiği konusunda herkes hemfikirdi.
Next, let's go directly to the 2022 PMGC. At a time when everyone was focusing on whether Nova could win 3 consecutive championships, a team that was not originally a favorite to win was about to become the focus on the stage. S2G performed consistently in the first 2 days of competition, always maintaining a position at the top of the leaderboard. And on the final day, S2G changed its conservative tactical strategy and sought to gain more elimination points in the last few rounds. And in the last round, S2G secured the championship with 15 elimination points.
The champion of 2022, it is S2G!
They finally broke through and made history for the EU region.
2022 Dünya Şampiyonası bizi büyük zaferler getirdi. Tabii ki Dünya Şampiyonası başlamadan önce bu zaferlerin geleceği konusunda çok bir fikrimiz yoktu. S2G kadrosunda bazı değişiklikler yapmıştı. Takıma yeni katılan oyuncular vardı. Özellikle Reis ile birlikte takımın form seviyesi gerçekten çok yüksekti. 2022 Dünya Şampiyonası finallerine 2 takım göndermeyi başarmıştık. Bir tanesi S2G, bir tanesi Fireflux. Maalesef 2 takımımızın kaderleri birazcık farklı oldu. İlk günden itibaren S2G sürekli olarak zirveyi kovalarken Fireflux için işler iyi gitmemişti. 3. gün geldiğinde S2G güzel maçlar geçirdi ve şampiyonluğu Türkiye'ye getirmeyi başardı. Bu Türkiye e-spor tarihindeki en unutulmaz başarıydı.
This year, the EU region has continuously produced even more strong teams. First of all, G Gladiators won first place at the 2023 PUBG Mobile Pro League Spring Regional Championships and third place in the 2023 PMWI. Veteran teams like Next Ria and Canada Power have been performing better and better this year and successfully qualified for the 2023 PMGC. Subsequently, hot recent teams like Mad Bulls, BRA Esports, Major Pride, Elise Esports, Demorte, among others from EU, have also successfully gotten a spot in PMGC. They all look forward to continuing the success of the EU region in 2023. There are many questions surrounding PMGC. Will S2G successfully defend their championship? Will another EU team lift the trophy? Could it even be a team unexpected to win it all? Let's witness it together in Turkey.
I'm Gold Investigator. Join the Investigator team and let's protect the game's fairness together.
2023 Popularity Annual Gala event tutorial. Hey there, welcome to the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala. We've introduced a brand new competition and upgraded rewards. You will have to go through 10 rounds of 1v1 matches and compete to become the first ever PUBG Mobile Popularity Annual Gala champion. So let's get right to it. New competition, ladder competition. The Popularity Annual Gala event will be utilizing a new ladder promotion system. Players' initial ladder grade will be determined by their battle points at the end of the first round. Ladders are divided into 6 grades: Triple S, Double S, S, A, B, and C, with Triple S being the highest. Ladder promotion rules. Players are ranked based on the popularity they gain during the battle period. For rounds 1 to 9, the ladder results are settled at the end of every round's battle. Apart from ladder grade C, each ladder has 100 spots, with the top 20 promoted, the middle 60 retained, and the bottom 20 demoted. If you're trying to move up the ranks, be sure to stay within your ladder's retained threshold or higher before each round is settled. Additionally, ladder grades can only be promoted or demoted by 1 grade at a time, so your performance in the assignment round is crucial. Be sure not to miss it. Final showdown. Based on the rankings from the previous 9 rounds, round 10 will be the decisive showdown to determine the final rank and ladder grade placement, including the champion of the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala, who will emerge as the ultimate winner. New exclusive rewards. At the end of round 10, rewards will be issued based on the player's ladder grade and final rank. For outstanding players, they will receive exclusive rewards that can showcase their supreme honor both in and outside the game. In-game rewards include the Honor Title, Honor Name Tag, and Honor Avatar Frame, which are sure to make you stand out. Moreover, there are also physical trophies, interviews, custom-made popularity gifts, official social media promotion, game exposure, and other exclusive honorable rewards. Gain global renown both in and outside the game. What are you waiting for? Participate in the 2023 Popularity Annual Gala now.
Welcome back to the PMGC 2023, and this is going to be the last chance stage here. And I'm live in Malaysia, Battle Arena PJ, with me none other than Potato coming out from Alter Ego. Now starting off our questions and brief interview for the day. Now, for Alter Ego, you guys were PMSL champions back-to-back for 2 seasons, but it feels like there's a lot of challenges for you in the PMGC League stage. What was the biggest difference if you compare during the PMSL and even the PMGC now?
Oke, jadi buat Alter Ego sendiri, kalian itu back-to-back champion di PMSL dan sekarang kamu berada di survival stage PMGC. Jadi apakah perbedaan di antara PMSL dan PMGC itu sendiri?
Oke, kalau perbedaannya menurut kita sih dari segi adaptif di tim-tim global ini ya, karena dari segi adaptif atau adaptasi mereka sangat-sangat kuat lah. Jadi mereka nggak ada patokan mau gameplay gimana, jadi mereka menyesuaikan dari segi gameplay.
Okay, if you ask me the difference between PMSL and PMGC, most of the team at this PMGC, they know how to adapt with the situation. They don't have like one specific play style or they want to play passive or aggressive. No, they're not doing that. They just adapt with the situation and improvise from there.
So I guess that's the biggest challenge for them as well then. And now, based on yesterday's matches, are there any adjustments? Since today is your last day playing as well, you have to wait for tomorrow. Will there be any adjustment for your team to just make it for the next stage and get a better result?
Oke, jadi buat hari ini adalah hari terakhir buat Alter Ego sendiri. Apakah menurut kamu sendiri ada sesuatu lah yang kamu ngerasa bisa nggak kamu lolos ke survival stage nanti gitu? Apa yang kamu harus lakuin buat kamu lolos ke survival stage?
Apa yang harus kita lakuin sih pastinya lebih ke mematangkan kesalahan kemarin ya. Jadi kita belajar banyak dari kesalahan kemarin. Kita benar-benar adjust lah untuk hari ini karena hari ini kita terakhir bermain dan grup green besok masih grup red dan yellow masih bermain.
Okay, so for me from Alter Ego, we want to do our best. We already touch up our mistake. We already learned from the past, and yes, of course, today group green and versus red. But then red is gonna play in tomorrow, so I think we're gonna perform really well so that group red is not gonna qualify easily to the last chance.
Now I'm going to touch that for a bit more. Since you mentioned about your mistakes yesterday, and it's so hard to actually identify your mistake in a very short time, can you state out some of the mistakes that's quite major for your team?
Ya, kamu ngomong-ngomong, kamu ada ngomong tentang permasalahan yang terjadi lah, mistake-mistake yang terjadi. Bisa nggak kamu cerita sedikit aja, apa salah satu contoh mistake-mistake yang terjadi di kemarin hari?
Mistake yang kemarin terjadi sih kita belum expect sama keisengan Semnan ya. Jadi benar-benar dari semua map kita benar-benar deket sama dia dan lumayan mengganggu gameplay kita lah.
So the things that I don't expect is the playstyle from Sem9. So that's the mistake that we learned back then is because of our drop spot in every map is quite near with Sem9, and yeah, we don't expect these things gonna happen, and yes, they give us so much trouble.
I mean, that's the unexpected to be happening on the global stage, definitely now. You mentioned about Sem9. Are they one of your greatest threat when it comes to this stage, or will there be somebody else so far?
Kamu ngomong Sem9 nih, kamu mention Sem9. Apakah Sem9 itu salah satu tim yang kamu ngerasa PR terbesar kamu, ataupun ada tim-tim yang lain?
Enggak sih. Karena emang kemarin iseng aja, kita nggak expect dia bakalan main se-iseng itu.
Okay. So basically, it's not really Sem9 is our biggest threat, but then we just don't expect they're gonna play like that.
Okay, so we might have more surprises for today, by the way. With tight points among the teams, and you still have a great chance to make it to the last chance stage. What's your focus to improve your rankings since today is your last day? And what do you think is the most important outcome for today's games?
Oke, jadi kalau kita lihat dari point system, poin kalian itu tidaklah terlalu jauh untuk kamu lolos ke ke last chance. Jadi, apakah fokus terbesar yang kamu mau fokusin hari ini supaya kamu bisa lolos ke last chance?
Kita lebih ngemaksimalin tiap game sih. Jadi, kalau tiap game kita mendapatkan hasil yang bagus, poin juga bakalan ikutan bagus juga. Jadi, kita fokus game per game.
Okay, so basically we're gonna focus on each game. We're gonna focus on our first game first. It's because of I believe if we focus on each game, the point will come afterward. So we're just gonna do our best in every single map, so that we're gonna maximize our point.
I agree. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time as well. But we're done here on Stage Live. We're going to toss it back to the casters. Good luck, all the best for all the teams out there competing, especially when it comes to Green Group. Today will be the last day performing, and the next day they have to just wait it out. We're just going to toss it back to the casters. Casters, take it away.
Well, as you heard there, Potato, Alter Ego, and all the teams from Group Green, this is your last chance. Your last 6 matches to get as many points as possible and potentially keep yourself in the safe zone. I'm Jason Kaplan, and we got Maxman and Kalaris here on the desk to break down everything happening, obviously, yesterday and what's to come up today. And honestly, Max, well, no, wait, I'm not going to go to you, Max. I'm going to go to Kalaris first. Alter Ego had a rough day, to say the least.
Yes, they did, and I VOD reviewed them quite extensively. So obviously we heard in the interview there that, Sem9 was one of their downfalls. Luckily for them, they're not playing today. However, I think that is not the issue for them. Yesterday, the issue for them in 4 games out of the 6 was unnecessary risks. You think back to the Sandhawk, you get caught in the water, BTR takes you down, you're done. You think, and the other water scenario on Erangel as well, that was not required whatsoever. The first game on Erangel, where they're coming late to the circle, they're trying to go for a central spot. You're too late. Try and play edge instead. Again, another unnecessary risk. And then finally, Sem9 on Erangel being able to take them out when they're trying to find cars, right? So all of these unnecessary risks that they're taking could be easily mitigated if they're just playing a bit more mature PUBG Mobile and trying to play a bit more of a controlled style.
Well, there you go. Before we can hop into some more analysis here, Max, I know you're just ready to talk. Got to remind you guys at home about the Infinix GT10 Pro official smartphone here at PMGC 2023. And while you're on your new lovely device, make sure you check out TikTok with the tag PMGC 2023 to find out some stuff behind the scenes, hopefully some interviews, hopefully anything for you guys to watch. And of course, if we do post about the event, make sure you use the hashtag as well. But Max, as you heard Colors break down Alter Ego, there's another team out there we really have to focus our attention on, a team who had a special invite into the group stage. It's G Gladiators.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to talk about them.
I'm making you talk about them.
I don't know. I want to talk about them. I mean, Gladiators, we expect more, right? I still believe in the Gladiators cheese. They're going to cheese until the very end here, Jason. They're going to maybe qualify to the survival stage, to the last chance, should I say, with just a few points. But I want to look onto other teams possibly, because we got also a big shift of groups, right? And one of the few teams that's been added to the mix today, I'm especially excited to see play, is going to be Nigma Galaxy. They played exceptionally well back in their Group Red, and especially with Coops, he was the second top fragger of his group. One of the best pickups, I would say, in the entire year of PUBG Mobile Esport, right? With how they are able to take these fights now, how aggressive they are. I'm especially interested to see how they're going to fight for their spot in Pachinki on the Wrangle against, I believe it's the Xavier, how that really unfolds. But Nigma Galaxy has to be one of the teams that everyone is looking at to qualify for the Grand Finals, so they're a very big favorite for me here going in these matches.
I'm hyped for them. I'm also hyped for Duxan as well, because South Korea, let's go. Here we are.
Oh.
They're awesome. They're awesome. And I mean, to be fair, they had a great start to their group initially, and they kind of fell off slowly as time went on. But I've said it multiple times, as South Korea constantly gets more and more days, more games on the board, they're great at assimilating information. All of their teams, all of the teams that qualify for PMGC. So I'm hoping for Duxan to prove big here again today.
That was great analysis about Gladiators, by the way.
I was going to say, well, that's great stuff to talk about, obviously, Nigma Galaxy and Duxan. But, Max, I really want to hammer home about Gladiators here. My attention actually are over towards potentially Inco Gaming, because obviously they've seen their brethren teams of Alpha 7, of Loops, of Influence Rage perform pretty well. I'm curious to see if they can rise up and be another Brazilian strong power team. But also, and Hyper, because the roster they ended up fielding in Group Red wasn't the roster they ended up fielding in Americas, or the team they ended up fielding in North America PMPL. I mean, to be fair, GFen on the roster was surprised to see them do so well in the group, considering GFen's kind of been out of the team for a while now. But they have, I guess, a lot of pressure coming their way from North America in general, considering they're our only representative. And I don't know. It's going to be tough, man. That's all I can say.
I know that Zifan is watching a lot of, doing a lot of viewer parties, watching a lot of the different regions. So I think that might have helped out, actually, because he knows kind of what to expect in these matches against all these different teams, how they're going to rotate, and how these matches are going to be unfolding. So maybe that has been helping them out quite a bit. But it can't help you against the domination of Brazil right now, because Influence Rage are just running away with it. And as you said already, talking about Inco, Jason, they have already played at this stage. Nenebich in particular, one of my favorite players of the region, that I would like to see them potentially climb up. But that would be too many Brazilian teams almost in the Grand Finals. There can't be all of them. That's not possible.
Or could it? I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, still a lot to come up down the way. But we can see a comparison here of Mad Bulls up against Nigma Galaxy. And Mad Bulls obviously struggling when it came to placement points, able to put up a ton of eliminations and obviously double chicken dinners as well. We could see just obviously the performance when it came to group stage quite different when it came to eliminations.
For me, Enigma Galaxy, I do feel like they were the one surprise for me, especially out of Group Red, to not advance through to the grand final straight away. I mean, they just fell short of Morph by a few points here and there, because Enigma Galaxy had a great start, and we know this team as a very formidable roster. I mean, I think a lot of people put a lot of stock in if Coops is gone, then if he's eliminated early, then maybe they don't have much legs to stand on. But I don't necessarily hugely agree with that. Of course, he is a force to be reckoned with, right? And somebody that is going to be sitting very strongly with him, as you can see here with the 43 eliminations. But this team still is able to play a macro game, even if Coops is gone. It's just that he is quite the powerhouse to speak of.
I mean, thinking back to PMWI, Max, we did see Coops kind of be similar to Nomi, similar to Matic. He was kind of off by himself, but also the funny thing was he was the tip of the spear, it seemed, in most parts. He would be like the first one across the rows to get position for his team, but he'd be so confident and so successful to be able to do that, that it allowed Enigma Galaxy to kind of adapt their style quite a bit to how Coops can perform to his best.
If you're Enigma Galaxy, you don't need an IGL. You just need to, Coops is engaged, we just follow Coops.
Enable him.
No, just enable Coops exactly to kind of take these fights, because clearly, as you said, he is the spearhead of these scenarios. He is the one that is leading the charge for this fight, and a lot of the time it's very successful when it works out that way. And the rest of the team, sure, they can frag out. We know Lord, we know Freak, we know how Rauf can also pop off in these matches, but clearly it's just the setup around Coops. If he gets knocked, pick him up. You want to keep him alive as much as possible, which is what I wanted to see almost from Quest with Al-Hajir, but it's just not been the case. Al-Hajir's been going out early, so it goes to show how important it is to keep a star player like Coops alive until the very end, because it increases your odds of winning those matches pretty significantly. So yeah, I hope that it's going to work out for them, though. If you're looking also on this graphic, Radio Seal, currently Reject, we had some great moments, right, Kalaris, in the group stage. They've been a little bit invisible currently at the start of this tournament. There's still a bit of time for them to come back and hopefully qualify for the last chance, but Reject have not had the start I was expecting, and that might be also off the back of that long break between Group Green and now this point of the tournament.
Honestly, I have a bit of a grim outlook for Group Green, in my opinion, once we take a look at some of the highlights. Because, I mean, you've got 6 of their teams not able to make it happen yesterday, right? I think Alter Ego was the top out of those 6 teams with 22 points, and that's kind of why I focused on them a little bit in my VOD review from day to day, because I do feel like Alter Ego is the one that can try and get out of that rut that Group Green has put themselves in yesterday, because it is their last chance today. So much so that I do believe that Alter Ego will make some big changes coming in today. Like, for example, I think that they're going to go north on Sandhawk because N-Hyper goes down towards Camp Charlie, which was a backup drop since they moved away from that northwest island, for example. So we'll see if that actually pans out here today. But yeah, I think they've got a tall mountain to climb as Group Green today for the most part.
I will say this, I'm 100% in agreement with you, Kalaris, but one thing we can't forget about is that the difference between 16th place and 8th place is 15 points. Now, obviously, if you're Melissa in the situation, that's over doubling your points, but it's not that big of a gap at the moment. So it's really going to come down to those potential 1, 2, 3 points. That means whether you're into the last chance or your unfortunately PMGC run will be done. So it's still extremely close, but yeah, it is kind of eye-opening, Max, as we look at Group Green just struggling down towards the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, actually, I got a few numbers right now. Group Yellow, on average, have 40.5 points. Group Green have 26.3. So there's a pretty significant disparity between the teams that are between these two groups. It is going to be a bit rough. There's room for them to, of course, catch up here, but as we know, for the survival stage, it's only 2 days. The teams of Group Green only have 6 matches remaining to have an impact on the leaderboards. And after, I mean, Kalaris in esports, this is always the worst scenario to be in. You just got to stay and watch and just hope that the other teams around you don't perform well, which is the most insane situation to be in, because you just cannot have the impact you're hoping for anymore.
No, for sure. It's a terrifying prospect to actually kind of stare down. For Rejects, of course, I think that obviously right now they got themselves 17 points yesterday. Compare that to the group stage that they had, which was 188 points in total. For me, I don't know if 2 days is enough for Rejects and rotating lobbies for them to gain traction, because Rejects' performances came in the latter stages of their group as a whole, compared to some of the earlier days and the early results. That said, as well, there's some uncharacteristic numbers that came out from yesterday. Procedure, for example, only 10 eliminations across 6 games. This is a team that can get that in 1 game, no problem, considering what we saw from them in the group stage. So my eyes are also on them, aside from Alter Ego, because I just think that they're capable of more.
100%. I completely agree, and unfortunately, just not seen out of them and the Twins. But you know what? Obviously, rotating groups. I think for me, as you kind of mentioned, right? Like we have rotating groups. It kind of doesn't favor some of the teams. But for me, PMGC is always about finding the best all-around team because there's so many different kind of mini tournaments within tournaments, right? You have your group stage where you play out the same teams over the course of 3-4 days. Then you have this event where you have rotating groups. You have to be adaptive. Then you get to the grand finals where it's going to be a sprint, or I guess the last stage coming up in just 2 days, where it's really a sprint, right? With just 2 days of play. You got to be good all around, and we're going to find the team to be just that, hopefully, very, very soon. But one team I did want to focus on, just really quickly, because I want to throw this out there in case it happens. Influence Rage. You're so far in the lead, there should be no chance you're ever going to fall into the bottom 8. Do you start to hot drop on some teams' potential, start to kind of put yourself in rotational paths of some of the teams, well, obviously not them because they're not playing here, maybe Mad Bulls is a better case in the situation, to punish teams and prevent them from potentially qualifying? Because Influence Rage will come tomorrow, Mad Bulls is today.
We always theorize this, and it pretty much never happens, right? But
I want to see it!
You want to see it, okay, but are the teams going to take that risk? I'm not quite sure. You could do it if you want at the second half of the day. I think now is a bit early to do that. You're safe. You're not 100% safe, so just...
Mad Bulls? You don't...
I mean, for Influence Rage, I would just say, just play the half of the day, just chill, normal. Then if you want, and see how it happens. I think the earlier you do it, the more responsive teams are going to be to that, and they're going to adapt around you, potentially hot dropping them, right? So if you Influence Rage, Mad Bulls, BTR, maybe you want to take a bit more time before going for a play like that. I don't know who you'd want to pick out. Maybe Rejects, maybe also Gladiators right now could be a team to take down. I don't know. Could be.
I have a thought. I do think Mad Bulls is relatively safe. I mean, considering that I think that the performance will continue here throughout the day. I think if you were going to target anybody based on these two groups alone, I wouldn't even mind looking towards Procedure for on Erangel. If you think about their potential rotational paths from something like Yasnaya going up against kind of Rozhok, sometimes those can potentially clash from time to time, and Erangel is the most, as we all do our little things. Please sir, I want to be next. You know, I think that could be a target. If they were going to do something, I don't know whether they will though.
I'd even go on Alter Ego, to be honest. I think that would be a good team to take down.
Maybe.
They could be a threat.
I mean, that's a good point. If you prevent people from hot dropping you when we get into the last chance stage, then it means your position's going to be a lot cleaner. You're limited in games. You have a better chance of qualifying through. But let's see what's going to break down as we're heading to our first match of the day with Sandhawk. Going to throw it over to our commentators of Jack and Blink to take it away.
Thank you, Jason. Oh, it's exciting already because I kind of like the way you can see we're all there in anticipation. It was cool. I like the way you kind of had, you know, we're in school blank. We want to get our opinions.
Oh,
in.
yeah.
See, for me and you, we're speculating, we're theory crafting. It's sick, man. This week's going to be so damn good. Like, the quality of games yesterday was great. If that carries on, I'm living for it, Blank.
Yeah, I mean, we were having a little chat behind the scenes there. I mean, to be honest with you, there's a lot to talk about here. You know, you have some of these groups here that are now playing their last day. It's Group Green. This is their final day today before we head in towards tomorrow. Everyone gets 2 days of play between both the survival stage and that last chance. And some of the players, some of the teams in Group Green are in real danger right now. It's a stressful experience. U2 Alliance, they look happy, they look ready to go, they look very, very excited to get things on the road here. They had a pretty good upwards trend over in their group. Didn't start off so strong, but ended it quite significantly well. Obviously not getting in towards that direct invite stage, but yeah, for Group Green, things do get a little tough here. And you know, we were chatting about, like, you know, there's really only a couple of teams from Group Green that we actually thought were fairly decent towards the end of it, and it kind of felt like the group of death. But the more we look into it, the more we see there's actually some very, very good teams in some of these other groups that definitely deserve more praise.
Absolutely. I think that's sort of the speculation that we had when we came to this agreement, you know, like looking back on it, in retrospect about the rose-tinted goggles or green-tinted goggles, really, the upper echelons of that group were absolute masterclass, right? Even Reject Tokyo can be lumped in with that, with how well they were playing over that week. But since coming into this, well, hang on a minute, hold that thought. It seems that hot drops are happening, Blank. What's going on here? Straight into the action. Is that Mad Bulls under pressure already?
It is Inco versus Mad Bulls here. And we saw this versus Mad Bulls in the very first day of their group versus Falcons. They lost their hot drop, but they're used to it now. They're expecting something to go off. They've already found one knock off the bat here. Let's see if they can find any more, Jackie.
How far can they go with this then? Fleek getting the reload off instantly, trying to assess the situation. Now, Mad Bulls always feel like they were hit with pressure on Sanhok. Even back in regulation of Group Green, they were being tested for control. Inco are the ones that are starting to show up here, though. Early damage done. Fleek down by the DBS. Another knock coming in, Blank. Bit of a trade, but now we're seeing them both be severed. Lots of damage across either squad now.
It was one apiece, but Inco were able to get that res off there. Vitali will finish off Fleek in the meantime. Zerich desperately trying to hold his own. Becker trying to head down the stairs. Nice little peek out coming through from Inco. Only one Mad Bull left remaining, but it's Tulika. He was having a fantastic day yesterday. Not about to let this game slip out of his hands, but he's only got one teammate left to bring up. But a huge amount of damage onto Squash. Last player alive, Tulika. Can he clutch this out?
Oh, is it going to be burned clutch like a used car salesman? Drop down for Squash, seeing if he can clear his way through as the bullets come flying. Tulika calls for the backup of his teammates, rotating further over so he's got room to try and pick him up later if possible. Doesn't peek off the back of the bait of the movement either, so Squash still holding. Frozen expires, and it's all on Tulika for good. No chance of getting his teammates back, so worst case scenario has happened here. Even if either one of these solos get away and give up the final elim, you have crippled yourself coming into the opening game today. And this is it, Blank. They've got to roll with the punches now.
Yeah, Nima Galaxy also having a little peek in here with Ralph off in the distance alongside of his teammate. So this fight is not going to go well either way for both squads right now. Tulika is on the broadside, will be spotted almost immediately. This shotgun that Squash has found himself alongside with the SK-12 that he's currently holding on to, it is just stressful to deal with now for Tulika indeed. One shot will be enough to take him down unless he's at distance, but for the Mad Bulls, this is still sort of an important fight to win out on, right? You do not want to be losing your spot in Ruins. You don't want people to be feeling like you're an easy prey come towards that direct invite towards the PMGC, that global championship. So for anyone watching, all the other teams are already qualified. You know, Mad Bulls having to put on a bit of a performance here, a bit of a display. Goodbye. And with that, Tulika will move onwards. Ralph takes out the final player there from Inco. Difficult stuff ahead now for Tulika himself. Be moving forward here, Jackie.
Oh man, that is a rough way to start this off, Blank. You know, we're coming into it thinking that we have time to speculate, give a bit of a lay of the land, if you will, for our viewers at home. We got Jason's favourite, just what he ordered, you know, fresh from the oven there, the hot drop specialty. Mad Bulls just walking away with just the one man as well. The worst case scenario, really, Blank. And then a third party to steal that last elim. Ooh, wrap that up in a neat little package. If that isn't a little taster of the sort of shenanigans we're going to be seeing today, then I don't know what would be. You know, maybe like a beef stroganoff.
Yeah, I mean, for some of these teams, some of these squads, right, it was kind of interesting because we were sort of speculating, is Mad Bulls going to be the one to hot drop? In the end, they have to, but it's Inco who does engage that. And I think for Inco, maybe not the greatest thing to happen. I mean, we were talking about how, you know, here on Sanhok, you do want to try and get as many points as possible, squeeze out as much as possible from this map, because you're only going to see one of it anyway. You don't want to go heavy on these games. Tixie all by his lonesome here. No one else to help him. He's got a DBS versus the three-man squad here of Quest.
Easy, straight around the corner. Easy two-pump, double barrel action. Straight into the face of Kitsune as well. Causes him to go bounding around like a very aggressive bunny rabbit. And he's put the foot down, Blank. At least hits onto a one. The sprint out as well. Basically just offering themselves up as sacrifice there. Those are some freebies for Gladiators. You get the response in as well for the situation. Get everyone back on their feet. You're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, you got to be really, really pleased with the fact that Tixie's able to hold his own on this compound. It is typically where Tixie does play as well, over towards this eastern side, able for the rest of the team to get over towards him as well. And I think that is nice. That's a nice regroup coming through from Gladiators. A lot of times they've been fairly slow on that approach. If one player is all on his lonesome, backup doesn't come half as quick enough a lot of times. So for Tixie, he is thanking his teammates, clapping them on the back there. That is a very, very pleasing result for Gladiators. Not so much for Quest, currently on 13 points. It's not really looking too good for this team, even after the absolute mad plays we saw from Al Haji yesterday. I don't know how much further Quest is going to be able to get into this tournament, but I think next year is going to be a really good year for Al Haji, no matter what team he's on.
I think they've done well, at least in kind of winning the hearts of the fans a little bit as well, with the time we've seen from them on camera, the way they've come across in their interviews, and the resilience we saw, at least in regulation, back in Group Green, right? You know, for them to actually fight through and even still be in the tournament in a position where we can still be talking about them right now, Blank, at least for me, was impressive. It just felt like there was a little bit of room for them to get another step forward. It's a shame how some of the games have gone for Quest, especially yesterday. It was rough. It was raw. Misery back on screens here, though. Evos instantly aggressing, looking to try and build themselves a few points on this one. Misery got the early knock off with the UMP. Redface and Co now moving in to clear out the upper compound as well, and flushing their way through anyone that dares to peek into them.
Yeah, it's a nice little fight there from Pasija Evos versus N-Hyper, leaving them down to one player now. And I think for Pasija Evos, this is very well set up. Yesterday didn't look too great for Pasija Evos. I mean, they were doing extremely well over in our group stage, but kind of fell off just a little bit there towards our first day of play for Group Green. 21 points, though. It's not terrible. It's not ideal either, but it's good enough. Pasija Evos, it is just Misery now coming up against some of the players here from NASA. Xenox will open things up.
What more can he get done? Bullets down range early on. It's good high ground, good position to be in. They've got a great understanding of where exactly they could be potentially fought from. Bit of a move on the go here as well, as we see the rotation from Evos off the back of their cleanup. Now finding a bit of a safer compound to play in, but they've been startled, detected from across the road. We're lying in wait. It's Melise of all squads. Hit and miss yesterday, Blank. Honestly, to be fair with you, mate, I feel like we saw a truer test of them, at least in Group Green. You know, from what we saw yesterday, it felt like they were struggling a little bit. Even CEO later, there were times where it felt like this guy was a bit of a one-man army. I don't feel like he was as quick to the mark yesterday. I'm hoping, obviously, with a day of rest, you've come back in a little bit more fresh-faced today. Would like to see some improvements from them today.
Yeah, I mean, for the Turkish squad, it's just a little bit difficult for them at the moment. I mean, they've been making a lot of right moves. And I think for an edge team that likes to kind of read into opponents' movements around the map and cut the legs out from underneath them, they did a good job of it in terms of theory, right? In theory, where they were playing, it was all fantastic. Then they were going down to these engagements. They weren't always able to win it out very cleanly with a four-man squad going onwards and just clearing from there. And they ended up just losing games very early on. And this is kind of the risk with playing edge a lot of times whilst you're holding out and guarding those edge sides, is that if you get into an engagement there, you lose it, right? There's not much chance of getting very much further into the game. For other teams that like to leapfrog from edge and then send towards a kind of a middling position between the center of the circle and the outer side of it, you have much more chance to get further into the game and maybe pick yourself some pretty consistent placement points off the back of it. And we had a really good conversation as well yesterday, or even this morning, actually, bloody hell, mixing up my time zones. It's all going so quickly right now, where we were talking about, you know, look, some of these teams yesterday just came out absolutely swinging, and I think in this format you have to, whereas other teams sort of got in their own heads a bit.
Yeah, that was one of the big focal points we were kind of sort of umming and ahhing over, about how you could see the difference of, let's say, a team like Influence Rage, who came out just playing their style, just absolutely giving it, right? Any opportunity they had to just swing on a fight, play confidently, going into an engagement, basically thinking, you know, we've already won this. They're just thinking about the points being in their pocket. you're going to have so much more of a better time of it than going into it giving so much respect to teams, overthinking these situations. And we've seen that change. A lot of our squads from Group Green, it feels like their play styles have kind of flip-flopped more so than anything compared to what we were seeing during that regular point. This is an interesting one, actually kind of ties into that. You can see here, Reject Tokyo at least getting a bit more confidence to fight and contest for center control. A little bit lucky there in terms of the draw of the circle, but it works out. You've got a compound, you're in a good spot, and they're going to be pleased with this, mate. They'll be chuffed with that blank, because when they had center control, when they felt comfortable early in a compound, this is where we saw some of the better games from Reject, because honestly, they're great on defense, good comms. It just felt like getting there was rough for them. They've been playing a lot of edge, and it hadn't been working out too well. I'd hope that would be a positive change. Bit of a fight potentially developing here as well. You've got the push up the hill. Focus is drawn from NASA towards the backside, but a few bullets whizzing on by. Room for a bit of a scrap here.
Yeah, I think for Enigma Galaxy as well as Nisa, this is a case where potentially Enigma Galaxy will just think about just swinging wide of this, potentially trying to get in underneath towards Painan. I think Enigma Galaxy is a team that is very well known for some of their more smart rotations. A little bit of a scout there from Ralph. He's in very much danger now of taking a knock. Luckily, the vehicle is going at a strong 90 miles per hour. Alter Ego zooming in towards where Reject is playing. Already Octa gets taken down here. They try and take control of one edge, but Reject has penned them in, locks them into one location. Now the nades can start to come through. There's a lot of damage off the back there. In the meantime, Duxan does take down Ralph. We talked about him earlier being very, very low.
Pins pulled on the nades for Alter Ego, looking to see if maybe there's a way they can defend themselves with these bad boys. Problem is they've already taken so much damage. Reject Tokyo setting themselves up. They're trying to reset in terms of the defense and readjust what positions they're playing from so they can support each other a little bit easier. There is nades in play as well. Reject Tokyo normally very good on lining up those double nades. That could be something to come back towards. For now, we'll see what's happening up on the hillside as well. There's been a bit of commotion here. Teams have been making their presence known, and that high ground control is going to be worth its weight in gold the longer this one goes on. So pressure being applied there. Rotation coming in as well. You've got Alliance on the move as they start to make their way over. Drop in the smoke so they've actually got some cover to work with. And you'd need it because Melissa are close by and they're eagle-eyed, Blank. They've got eyes like a hawk.
Yeah, for Yudu, this is probably one of the toughest rotates currently happening on around the map, where they're sort of locked in between DX as well as Malise Esports, and DX has a fantastic control of his high ground. Something we saw a lot from them yesterday is identifying some very strong positions on the map, but also being really good at holding them down. Not necessarily always in compounds, just in certain areas of the map where they have that high ground control. They can play around a little bit of hard cover and go from there. Circle moves very hard towards that north side. Now, that is a little bit of grace given towards MB Esports. They can use that to their advantage. You do Alliance, they take a knock in Flax, and a quick heal goes over towards Fatar there. So very, very immediate response from Yudu Alliance, but I don't think it's going to be enough here. I think they're just caught on with the worst end of the stick out of the lobby. Probably the only team that's going to suffer in the next minute or so, I would say. Malise Esports on this side of the map. Now Kisyu does go down. Poser has a nade in hand. We'll send it over towards Nisa, but Malise Esports again just crumbling a lot during these days. Again, Nisa, 5 eliminations found so far. Really, really good stuff from them. I think this is interesting because it is a lot of these squads that we see a fair few times that just come into these games swinging. They tend to do well, and I would say that this is a very, very good and promising mark of the game going forward here, Jackie.
I'd agree with you, man. It feels like, actually, you know, we're getting into a bit of a groove now, a bit of a stride for some of our teams. A lot more aggression displayed early game as well here with the culmination of the two groups we have in today's lobby for survival stage. Now, they were being pulled and pushed in multiple directions here. It felt like they weren't quite sure which fight they wanted to set their gaze on, but now they've been thrust into one. They have to try and survive, taking a ton of damage up against Evos. Good lay of the land from Link as well. Knows to look towards the distance, can see just over the ridge side where his next opponent is coming from. They've got an understanding of where exactly he's playing towards, but with the bullets connecting, they're going to start to farm up these elims. Melise, meanwhile, are crashing down as well. This is UDU Alliance still trying to push over that hill. They've been doing this for quite some time, Blank, and maybe it's going to start to work out. Nice connection onto Levites. He's dropped and finished off for good, and they're still pushing in.
Yeah, Cluck's doing a really good job here. I actually like the thought process we saw from UDU Alliance. Unfortunately for them, DX follow them down on that south side, which is a really cool play from DX. You don't a lot of times see teams chasing on this situation. In the meantime, Reject desperately trying to hold on towards their central compound. They left it, they moved towards that north side, but they did face off versus FaZe. But they're currently still in a strong position. Gladiators, for them, this game is very, very important. They already started things off really well with a 4 eliminer. It would be absolutely strange and weird circumstance that we see Gladiators get the majority of their points done on Sandhawk. As we know, they are horrid at this map. This is a map that they do not find a lot of success on, but already they're up to 7 eliminations. With 4 players alive, this is starting to be a really good run for them.
There's an itch in the back of my brain just reminding me of one of the Sandhawk games we saw from Gladiators quite some time ago, Blank. And I just remember it starting off in the same kind of way. When the pressure's on Gladiators, when it feels like, you know, the story's not going to happen, the crazy comeback towards the end is never going to be there. It feels like finally that Cinderella story won't be written. Something like this happens. We've seen it before on Sandhawk. I don't know what causes them to play like this sometimes, but they've certainly had their breakfast this morning, and they're coming out with some fibrous maneuvers, looking very solid in the moves they're making. 7 elims to the name, Blank. How much longevity have they got on this one? We'll keep our eyes on it because Gladiators need a good game, and the individuals are playing to prove that.
Yeah, they desperately do. Right now, facing off versus Duxan, not an easy team to go up against. MBE Sports, they lose Fistboy on a knock. That's to DX, who are doing a really good job over on this eastern side, just clearing their way through. Up to 3 eliminations now. Alter Ego also chiming in. Bit of a better rotate from them over towards this south side, able to take over that compound that Reject were holding on to. I think a lot of that comes off the back of the fact that Gladiator was able to get some really good pop shots between the windows, knock some of the players from Reject. Very much slow them down, bog them down. More nades sailing in from Gladiators, taking out the remainder now of Duxan. FaZe spots out some of the players from Gladiators, will take some pot shots towards them, over towards that western side. Chow gives his life for the rest of the team, but it's just Paragin now. With Lamborghini down, he is able to get in, but this is more of a survival game for them. Great circle here for the Gladiators. The last minute men, as usual, very much feels like back towards my university days where the deadline's looming and then suddenly I'm in the library for 24 hours.
That's how it always goes with Gladiators, man. I sympathize them with a lot, Blank. I'm the same. Unless the deadline's there, it's not getting done. And that's the way they play. And honestly, it's working wonders for them right now. Again, you know, with every time we're looking over to them, they're starting to build up more elims. And like you're saying, zone-wise as well, they're in a good position to make a play off this. The one awkward encounter in the dead center as well is Reject Tokyo, now basically being the Reject duo, with all of FaZe in full force around them as well. So not really what you want to be. A bit of flat sharing going on, and that's illegal. It's called subletting, Blank. FaZe are going to clap back onto DX as well, finding a way to peek through the windows. An assault onto Paragin. That's an unlucky knock.
Yeah, I think right now, even though he's able to get Lamborghini up, it was kind of for nothing. This little high ground that Gladiators currently have control of was so fortuitous that they got the circle on this side. Coming off that high ground is very difficult, so they're trying to milk it for as much as they can here, stay on this top side. But it's MBE Sports coming in to try and challenge us. So now, Gladiators need to be ready for this one. Kitsune luckily is in position as the DBS, only able to find one though, and that's not quite enough. The rest of the team instantly needs to improvise off the back of this. Sek and Mondo are down, so it's a decent start. The nades start pouring in, and it's a nice nade on the backside towards Fistboy. Just Akaze left remaining, and Gladiators quickly clean them up there. Up to 12 eliminations now, Jackie. A fantastic start. Tixie's flying through the air. Matic is on the support.
Oh, mate. This is perfection put together so precisely from Gladiators right now. That was beautiful. The nade work to defend after the crash was on point, and then straight back into hungering for more elims. The peek down the hill, beautiful connection on the aim skill as well, and we get left with our final 4. A scrappy one at that as well, Blank. Alter Ego still alive. They were able to find what remained of Mad Bulls and shut them down, but they've now had the same done to them. Peek out from Sarah Biceps, and with a smooth right hook, he's wiped them off the face of the battleground. 3 squads remain.
Gladiators currently on the outside edge right now. It's FaZe with a very strong position. Alter Ego still need to work their way in as well, but they went out earlier on. Reject holding on. It's a good little game for them, but for the Gladiators, more points would be absolutely gorgeous for them here. If they could win out this game, they'll send themselves tumbling towards that top side of the lobby after just one match. So 20 points. Realistically, if they can get themselves 25 after this, they'll be very, very safe. It'll give them a buffer. They still will need to put in the work after the rest of the day, but they'll be in so much better stead. And taking that pressure off yourself this early on in the day is so, so nice.
Taking the pressure off themselves and applying it to Reject Tokyo. Problem is, though, it's not going to turn them into diamonds. It seems like they will instead just buckle under the pressure. Bit of a peek out here from FaZe, though, as Gladiators encroach further on the compound, closing in on them, using their utility to try and blow Lufa out of the equation. Nade after nade barreling through. Swing from FaZe on the stairway as well. And that connects. Meku left black and blue, down on his last legs now as they first onto him. Gladiators with only a duo remaining, Blank.
I think regardless of what happens there, I think Gladiators are fairly pleased with this result, right? Meku was always left behind to try and help the rest of the team get further up. Now it's Matic in a 1v3 scenario. It's going to be very difficult for him to pull this type of thing off. Goes for the pre-fire as the circle starts to push all these players in. Has an idea of where they're swinging. This rock is really nice to play around, but Onzen, he's on the prowl, and it will be found by the rest of the team. Mormon finishes off Matic. Regardless, FaZe picks himself a nice win from a very easy rotate on that north side, but for Gladiators, that could have been a lot more for them. Either way, I think it was around about 15 eliminations they finished that game with the 6 points on top of it. 21 points is just a very, very nice start for them. And you know what? Jason might have been right to bring them up at the start of the day.
It's crazy, isn't it? You know, we sit there, Jason brings out all his storylines that you think are never going to happen. And I think we hit the mark for 3 out of 3 of Jason predictions all in one game. So he's doing well today, Blank. He's doing well. Oh, look at the dance.
He's happy. He's pleased with that one. I mean, starting off the day with a win here for Mela is really, really nice for him. He's got his hot water bottle in hand as well, mate.
Oh, yes.
Taking the heat to the next level.
This is why FaZe are winning. No, they're bringing the heat in. They're warm. Exactly, Blank. That's madness. They got the moves inside and outside of the battleground, and they got the chicken dinner to boot as well. Can't turn your nose up at that one, but I think we do have to give a little bit of eyesight over towards Gladiators, looking at the stats in terms of what they got up to on that one as well.
Yeah.
That's a big game from them, right? They're actually fragging as well, Blank, which I think makes the world of difference in the sense of confidence. It's what we were talking about way back at the start of the game. At least now, having a high elim game, it should perk you up a little bit. You're not going to feel so somber throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, I mean, the teamwork looked really, really good there from the Gladiators towards the end, and that's what you want to see overall. In the meantime, we're going to send you back over to the other team over on the desk.
The desk team, the best team here. Like FaZe could get their victory on the board here, starting things off strong for Group Red. But to be honest, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of working parts in this one that allowed quite a few other teams to have some decent results. You know, Max, I know you didn't want to talk about him at the start of the day, but I'm going to make you talk about him now. It's G Gladiators.
Okay, you know what? They got himself some exactly
Give you that much, Jason. I think Kalaris was talking about that. The eliminations kind of got fed to them in weird ways, especially that fight versus Quest. Alter Ego changing their drop location to the Eastern Island, and Mad Balls fighting Inko, which means that their rotation path here, Jason, is completely free. Even if you rotate late, you can make it through Trifecta, you can get access to Bootcamp Hill, and off the back of that, they can just start blasting at so many other teams like Duxan, Alter Ego, and get 15 eliminations on the board. They needed those points here because they were in a tough spot before here, and they already doubled their points. They had 20 points before this match, and now extra 21. That is massive for Gladiators.
That might be exactly what they need to get themselves in more of a safer position, considering this is their last day of play overall. But another team we have to dive into here is Reject in particular, because the position they had, we were watching a little bit of a disagreement between you and Max in terms of what Reject decided to do as his own tried to center up on FaZe.
So I think that they were trying to make the game-winning play, right? Like with some of their moves. They start in Trifecta, they had a 2-2, and they go to the compound, which in our region we see always as a focus point for some of these circles mid-Sandhawk. Now, they realized Alter Ego's coming in behind them. They made a ridiculous blitz through. It was risky, but they actually got a lot of points from it, 8 points in total. That's by the by. Rejects here from this point on tries to leave this compound and go north towards FaZe. I think they already took one elimination off of FaZe, so they knew that they were weakened, or in a weakened state, but it was very slow, very unsuccessful trying to breach the position of FaZe here. So I like that Rejects was trying a winning move, but it materialized. At least they got high up in this game, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that the situation they were in with Alter Ego playing the Road Trifecta compound is you want to work with Alter Ego and stay in that compound for as long as possible to gatekeep other potential threats later on down the line. If you stay there with Alter Ego, you eliminate Nigma Galaxy, Deke Xavier, Duxan. You can also maybe eliminate some players of Gladiators as they're getting pushed down Bootcamp Hill, and off the back of that, you can transition through the rocks, maybe make it over to FaZe. I think that was the better approach, but to be honest, the moment Deke Xavier died, right, Kalaris, they could play those rocks and survive super fine to the match. So it ended up working out, but I think there was maybe another option available. But that's the cool thing. There's so many ways to play it that you don't know which one might be the best at the end.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, like a symbiotic relationship in that compound for a little while. The thing I look at it is that they got third in this game, and would they have probably have got third if they'd have stayed in that compound as well? Yeah, probably. Yeah. But would they have got first? Almost absolutely not. So I think that, you know, they were trying to go for it all, and obviously it didn't pan out.
Yeah, and again, trying to make those plays that are really important for them, considering Reject coming into this one from Group Green. So they only have, well, now 5 matches left to go. They have to get as many points as possible. They have to make sure that to make the right decisions, though, as we did look at a drop as well between Mad Bulls and Inko. And Mad Bulls, a team that it really doesn't matter for them, right? They're pretty much safe into the last chance. For Inko, though, at least them trying to scrape by as many points as possible. I think they got 3 with the eliminations. They're realizing, okay, well, this is not going to work out. Let's try to salvage with something, but they have to maybe look forward now to the next 5 matches.
Yeah, you don't forget the best part of that fight here, Jason. You just Raouf come in like, sit down. just get rid of them right away.
That was a good bit.
That was a good bit right there. But yeah, it's a hot drop. It is normally Inko that would have to change that drop because Mad Bulls, as you touched upon, Kalaris, during that game, are already so comfortable. It is currently their fight to win currently in that position. If they win it, they clear it for the last chance. And Inko, they're just going to be maybe completely out of that position from the get-go. So yeah, Inko, cool. It's fair enough. There's only 1 of these maps per day. But you might want to try and think of avoiding those as much as possible because it can really impact your results over only 2 days worth of play. That is such a small amount of time that these hot drops can really impact your position.
Yeah, it would be even especially more huge if there was more than 1 Sandhawk per day, right? But there's very little interest in giving up your position when you've done as well as you did like yesterday as Mad Bulls.
One thing I do want to mention really quickly, because you said it while we were watching the game, and I kind of really liked the idea of it. We did see Alter Ego change the drop location, as was mentioned already on the desk here. They went up towards Cow. But then when the zone started to shift away from Corey, more centralized, and they were on the east side of Corey, you were talking about what do they do here in this position. And Clarence, I wanted you to bring that up just really quickly.
Yeah, again, they're just playing really risky PUBG Mobile. Like going for these wide rotates, going up against Quarry, which is a very difficult place to transition away from. They have to bomb it through to try and make something happen. If they'd have come in from the north, it might have just been an easier time. But yeah, they did all right. But it's, again, very risky PUBG Mobile here.
Yeah. High risk, potentially high reward for Alter Ego, who desperately need every single point they possibly can in our final 5 matches. And it's time to head into our second match of the day, which is our first Erangel of the day with Jackie and Blake.
Ooh, the first of the 3 Erangals. This is good. This is always my favourite Porsche and Blanc, because it feels like we start to get the more nuanced games, right, where we can kind of expect the more unexpected. But this lobby's already looking kind of wild, so we'll see what we get, Blanc. We'll see what we get. We're in for some treats.
Yeah, I think that the guys on the desk touch on a really important point here, is that for some of these teams, you know, specifically what Kalaris was talking about really interested me in the sense that, you know, Reject, they go for the game-winning play at the end of the day. And I think you have to do that now. You really do have to go for these sort of things, because honestly, for Group Green, we know that this is their last day of play to get in towards that survival stage, to not be in the bottom 8. And again, because you are the group that's playing the first 2 days in a row, you don't play the last day, you don't really know what marker you're aiming for, right? You don't know where that bullseye lies, because no one is on that 16th position where it's just fixed, and you can think to yourself, we only need to get this amount of points to get in. So you have to push it to the max every single game, and I think that some teams are realizing, I would say too late at this point in time in Group Green, that they have to go for these game-winning moves. That had to come through yesterday. It absolutely had to come through yesterday. I think Mad Bulls took their fate into their own hands very quickly, as did Influence Rage, who have more than secured their position over towards the last chance phase. At this point, I think they have 77 points, something ridiculous at this point in time. So I think for some of these teams, maybe it's coming through too late. You need a little bit of luck today. You need to really hit your shots. You need to be making strong rotations, and maybe, just maybe, able to bump those points up just enough. I think for Quest, that instant elimination at the start of the day there on Sandhawk versus a team that most people regard as not the greatest Sandhawk team, or really knock their confidence in a big way. We know Quest made it in by the skin of their teeth, literally 1 point in Group Green to get towards that survival stage. I don't know if that sort of playstyle is going to cut it here, where a lot of teams, we're starting to cut down past the teams that, you know, didn't get past the first group stage. They're now in the survival stage now, where we have a lot of really, really strong teams. They won't just sit down and die like Tiamba did.
No, it's not going to be anywhere near as easy or as fine of a margin. I think that's the other part as well, is the fact that that was 1 point of difference. I would imagine it's going to be a little bit more of a stark contrast here. Hello, imagine
I would have cried.
That would have been huge, man. Full John Rambo action to start off the day, but not going to happen. They will try and instigate the fight, though, onto Melise as best as possible, whilst they know they're a little bit fragmented over in Alliance territory. So he's going to go breezing off, and Poser will join the rest of the squad, group up, and see what they can get done. But yeah, it is very, I don't know, it's quite a curious way to start off the day, really, in terms of some of the teams that we saw playing well. It was a bit more unexpected for me. After what we saw from Gladiators, I was kind of starting to shift into that, you know, you don't believe in the Gladiators camp. But as soon as it feels like you hit that point on the meter, that's when they bounce back. I think they do it just to, like, spite everyone. And,
they tease us.
They do, man. They really want to kind of like rope you into the idea that it's not going to happen, and then, you know, they make all the fans book their tickets last minute to the finals. That's how that always goes. But we'll see if they can maintain pace, because it was a good game from them. But it's a key point that you hit on as well that I think is quite interesting, in the sense that the best they can do now is try and repeat that as much as possible today, because obviously they've left themselves with no other chances to accumulate points. So if you're leaving it up to another team to decide your fate, that's the rough part.
Losing Alva off the back as well. And I think this is something that's happened a few times now coming through from the boys on the squad. And I think that when you look at this, for Alter Ego, you just maybe drop trash around Mansion. Don't go for this 2-2 split between Lipovka as well as Mansion itself. It's not worth it. With the amount of teams that saw you yesterday get trounced by other squads, of course, NBE Sports is going to come down here and start to take some pot shots towards you. Mondo's coming in with the UAS, likely to clean this one up. The best Rosemary can do is send out some smokes, try and hit a couple of shots over with the DP, but I don't know, man.
No, this is looking pretty raw. It's like uncooked beef at this point, Blank. It is not what you want, mate. one by one, just getting finished off a little bit here for Alter Ego. They've had such a rough couple days in terms of their opening drops. And again, you know, it does really feel like everyone's sort of passed the word around that Alter Ego is the easier team to bully on these drops, Blank. It just keeps happening.
Yeah. I mean, you make yourself an easy target and teams will want those points off from you. And you don't make those adjustments, it's not going to go well in future. Maxman, very astutely
The Max update.
Max update, from the Max Mansion itself. You know, Enigma Galaxy usually dropping towards Pachinki. The Xavier over in Group Green refused to give up Pachinki whatsoever. They kept dropping there every single time, even on hot drops. But this time around, they drop over towards Severny. They give it up. This is the first time they've never dropped there. And I think for the Xavier, this is actually a really, really important little tidbit to go off the top of, because I like this maneuver. You drop towards Pachinki versus Enigma Galaxy. You know this is a strong team, but right now you're currently third place, 53 points. Consistency, it can be afforded now. So a Severny drop for DXavier when it's open, completely reasonable, I would say, to go for this team. They know they can get further into the map. They know that they're strong holding in that mid game and then trying to take out teams towards that late game as well, with a little bit of sweeping from the high grounds. So I think this is a really good move from DXavier, and again kind of feeds into that storyline, as if you made those points happen in that first day, you have a lot of room to switch up tactics, to switch up strategies. You know, if this is a case that DXavier would be on like at 15, 19 points, they might have considered dropping over towards Pachinki and just trying to push it to the limit down there versus Enigma Galaxy, trying to win out on that hot drop and then going out from there, because those 4 eliminations would be very nice. And you can't really fear that fact of, what if we lose the hot drop? You just have to go and think to yourself, we're going to win this hot drop, we're going to move from there, we'll take that central position and give it some really good rotational paths into the late game. Everyone else in this lobby is just going to get trounced by us. You just have to think that you're a much larger team than you actually are.
Yeah, you've got to embody the stature, right? Make it, you know, look like it's hard for you to fit through doorways, that kind of stuff. Build the confidence up by making yourself feel bigger than you are. And that was what they did. I mean, even back in Group Green, right? It was kind of them versus Bra, was just like the battle of Pachinki every single time, Blank. And DX were willing to fight those down to the bitter end, you know, limping away with one player left if they needed to, or even conceding basically an entire run on one of our games of Erangel just to guarantee that drop. So I like the fact that they've at least moved away from that here and kind of thought, all right, we really did risk it, you know, back then. Now it's a little bit of a different kettle of fish. Let's not go for those sort of plays. So good to see the improvement there and the adjustment as well, to be willing to even give up your normal confident drop. Man, drop is a word that is synonymous with Alter Ego at the minute, though, as every time we look towards the Elim feed, it feels like it's Rosemary that's just taking bullets from miles away. It's so unfortunate for AE for the way these games have been going, but again here, they're just exposed. You've got a line of sight. MBE just keep putting the pressure on and Blank.
Yeah, I think for Alter Ego at this point in time, it's just not looking good, right? And I think we said this multiple times at this point. There had to be a change coming today. Kalaris gave some really good points, some very risky rotations. I think this one in particular was a risky drop as well. I think you can go for risky drops where they provide you a bit more of an idea of actually getting further into the game. But when you're dropping over towards Mansion and then split dropping in Lepovka as well, and you know that Procedure dropped towards Yasnaya, MBE Sports drop around this location as well, you're sort of playing with fire at that point in time. You know, there is just an opportunity to, look, give up on the scouting early on. We have a very good read on where most of these teams move in from, just from watching a lot of the other games that have happened throughout the group stage. Let's just go for a 4-man push over towards Lepovka. We'll split out. We'll try and sweep up towards the top side of Kameshki and move down from there. There's a lot of good little pit stops along the way on that side of the map. So for Alter Ego, again, a risky drop, which I don't think was particularly necessary here. The Xavier, kind of expected from them. Move up towards northern side, take the high ground control, and play off the back of that one. So I like this from DXavier indeed. Mad Bulls also find themselves on the northern side of Yasnaya. Very nice little quick rotate from them, and a very hard shift over towards the eastern side, encompassing a lot of water in this one as well. So if teams want to get their feet wet, they certainly can if they want to live out this game a little bit longer. But for most teams, it's going to be either trying to sweep on this northern side or trying to hold towards some of these compounds on the edge. It's kind of a difficult position to play in. Some teams will be afforded some great spots early on if they were able to get here quick enough, but some teams on this outer edge will be struggling to find themselves a home.
Yeah, man, this is one that's setting up to potentially be a bit of a community swimming pool circle if it keeps up like this. About 40% water at the minute, so landmass really going to be important to lay claim to early. Try and set yourself up as quick as physically possible and don't leave it up to another squad to already claim all of the compounds. The mass migrations are coming through. You can see everyone starting to make their rotate down towards the zone, trying to get there as quick as physically possible. Bit of contact on some of the players that are playing slightly more defensive as well inside of the compounds, just listening out for where everyone's heading. Mad Bulls stopping for a quick pit adjustment. Meanwhile, we've got the pull-up from Alliance down towards the compound of Rejects, and that nade was tasty, Blank. That was a 3-pointer straight onto the head of OCO.
Yeah, certainly painful. In the meantime, Inco is getting picked up by Enigma Galaxy. That's on the south side right now. Both teams were rotating in, so some pretty decent shots, I assume, were being made from inside the vehicle itself. Very much a turret going through right now from Enigma Galaxy, all in one vehicle. Slightly dangerous, but it's worked out for them so far, with Inco taking one knock and a flush off the back of that. In the meantime, Malise Esports situate themselves all the way over towards Lipovka, try and keep themselves as safe as possible. Alter Ego regroup on the coastal side towards the east with 3 players, but surrounded by an N-Hyper as well as the Mad Bulls, who have picked up what I think is one of my favorite positions within the circus, a really nice ridge side that you can play from over on this eastern edge, and keeps you very clear. You do have to worry about some of the teams on the eastern side. See right now, Enigma Galaxy just cannot find anywhere to stay. And this is what I'm talking about. If you come out on the edge here, you are going to be driving around a lot. And it's even more terrifying the fact they're in one vehicle, which is exactly why they try and get into a second, but not before Coops is pulled out of it. And Freak will just have to leave off the back of that.
Man, it's so unlucky. You see the heads-up play there, trying to dash the smoke can before the drop, so it blooms to at least give him some sort of cover. But unfortunately, Udo Alliance had such a good angle, such a good line of sight onto that position that they've basically just been gifted a freebie. And the situation there worsens even more for them. So you're still driving around looking for a parking spot in a never-ending garage. And there will never be a parking spot, Blank, because everyone is already set up with guns, using these parking spots as compounds to play in.
Yeah, and they won't be leaving anytime soon, so you're not getting that middle space. I'm sorry about that. In the meantime, we do get a circle that moves down towards that south side, in which case Reject and Udo Alliance's compounds become very, very valuable indeed. So for Udo Alliance, currently they do have the strongest spot, which is up on high. Reject slightly safer in terms of the fact that they can just sort of sit in this compound for a while. You know that Udo Alliance, with them being in this compound, they're not likely to move anytime soon, so they don't want to expend too many grenades just sending them down over towards Reject. So Reject have this outpost which is guarded by Udo Alliance. Eventually they are likely gonna have to fight against one another, but both teams in this sort of mutual agreement at the moment.
Malise as well, hitting a nice shot across onto Freak and dropping the man. So the situation still just going from bad to worse, second after second, constantly taking damage and feeling uncomfortable, just playing out in the open, exposed to the elements at this point. Reject Tokyo firing off the warning shots. FaZe on the move as well. Round the side of the ridge, contact from inside of the building. Typhan spitting bullets at him, seeing if he can keep the pressure on. Mormon going to dash back with a couple of smokes as well, at least provide some protection. Koi's got the range on it, trying to debate whether or not he wants to engage on this one. If he can hit the shots with such a substantial drop, battle back as well. FaZe constantly just taking damage from either side now. A lot of HP being licked off them as well. So this could start getting a bit rough for FaZe, Blank, if they can't find a way to calm this one down.
Yeah, and Hyper has got so many angles on you. GK first over towards the shack right now. G-Fan taking shots from inside the building. FaZe have sort of set themselves up in a pretty horrid scenario right now for themselves. Hyper looking to potentially regroup, but again, GK first comes in with another clutch shot over towards Mela, in which case they might just send towards this. The blue is pushing them in, and an opening knock like that is absolutely gorgeous for them.
First one's what you want. How many more are in store for them? Be a nice way to reality check FaZe straight away, man, off the back of their chicken dinner as well, if you could pull them down here.
I don't know why GK keeps going for these shots, to be honest. So greedy. Looking to finish off Mela. You can kind of understand why he's going for it, though. You don't want to let that player live. They are able to finally flush him out, but two players out in the blue right now, and FaZe currently have pretty good shooting angles over towards them. Koi luckily does find another on Mormon. He's so up close and personal, taking a lot of shots. There's not a lot of support coming through. Ventores understands that he too needs to get a move on, and quite quickly with the circle moving in. Very, very quick movements all around the block for Hyper, but this has been a sort of a crazy push from Hyper, locking both FaZe and them to their dooms. GK first even drops over there to the play zone itself. This has been a very, very odd fight. Gladiators looking to maybe get themselves slightly involved. Shifan inside the building, and Hyper actually indeed go down. Mormon as well as Ventores might be able to continue, and that felt like one of the weirdest fights coming through from Hyper indeed. I didn't like that whatsoever. Felt like almost a guaranteed hold over towards its south side, just given up by some odd angles being taken.
Yeah, it really does feel like they've kind of both dragged themselves down. You know, we've no potential really successful outcome for either team in that situation. Very aggressive and very tunnel visioned in the way that they played it. So both squads basically being destroyed because of it. I mean, yeah, sure, FaZe still has presence at least, but hang on, hello, I'm a bit of power roll straight into Matic. Okay,
misery.
So I guess FaZe were in fact just a present for Gladiators, Blank, because they've given them one additional point there and given us some nice showmanship in the vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, I think he realized it was over as soon as he started spinning out of control. Nice shots there from Meku. Procedure Evos try and stop off to get a little bit of scouting done and realize actually quickly put some gas in it, change the gears as fast as possible, please. Nice rotate from Procedure Evos. They do get in front of the guys from Gladiators, which is probably not what Gladiators were hoping for. If they could have maybe got a little bit further ahead instead of being stopped off there by the random player from FaZe coming through, maybe they would have been in a better position where currently Procedure Evos is, though. But you look at the lay of land now, where we're currently playing over towards the south side. Most teams you can see situated on the southern side of the circle, right? Just because this is providing the most amount of cover, there is so much open ground to traverse through if you're coming up from this northern edge. So MBE Sports Gladiators got a bit of a weird rotation to make here. Gladiators could take the fight here versus Procedure Evos and potentially move off from the back of it. But there's going to have to be some good nades, and Kitsune does not spot the player off towards his left.
Ooh, Kitsune engaging with the nades early, looking for the jump down. Nice. He was ready for that one, Blank. Instantly spots Redface and will leave him quite red in the face after that uppercut from the DBS. Zerich from absolutely miles away, looking to get involved with this fight where possible, scanning the hillside with his eyes and keeping a nice understanding of the situation. Meanwhile, here we see MBE starting to dive in, an assault inside of the compound. Bullet after bullet, whizzing close close by. Nasa now re-aggressing as well, looking to try and push their way back through. Spam up close. Fist Boy needs to land an uppercut. Not looking too good for him though, as he'll go down to the spray. How on earth is he still alive with a trickle of HP blank? It felt like he was trying to 1v4 that with nothing to his name.
I mean, Xenox did an incredible job there, but his quest coming in over towards Reject. They're holding on as best they can, and the crash is just not working out. Luther immediately gets inside. They want to keep hold of all 4 members here. They know they've got a strong position to be working with. Duello moves in, tries to clear out the player, but he gets a nice little sideswipe back in towards the door. Finally, it's over, as Tixi will pick up an elimination over towards Vahidan. But 6 eliminations for Gladiators. Once again, a pretty decent result for this squad. They'll have to push on through, potentially third partying down towards this position on Reject could be a good idea, but even Meku still putting on the hurt versus Inko, holding on whilst Kitsune scouts towards the western side of the circle. This is far, far better for Gladiators so far. You can tell the teamwork is here. Yesterday they just felt so disjointed.
They're just fighting as well, Blank. I think that's the one big difference, right? Is we're seeing them play so confidently now where they're actually pulling up, looking like they're going into these engagements with the idea being to win them, with the idea being to get elims. Whereas yesterday, it felt a bit timid. It felt like they were playing inside of a box and kind of waiting for teams to come towards them. So I'm glad to see it. Definitely a much needed facelift for Gladiators, looking a lot more like the side that we like to see, at least. A lot of movement going on now as well. Bit of reshuffling. There's a ton of commotion down here. So everyone's kind of ringing the proverbial dinner bell, if you will. And it started to bait in the rotators, the mandem that want to pull up and try and squirrel away some of the points. So let's see if that'll be a potential outcome here. Roadside shenanigans for NBE. Meanwhile, Melise engaging on Origo. That was big, Blank. Nice nade to open it up.
Yeah, an absolute chunky nade as well. Kisyu looks for another, sends it in, but Origo is tucked away just for the time being. Smoke's been dropped down by Melise Esports. They don't want to get caught off on the side here. In the meantime, Becker on his lonesome trying to take down the rest of DX Xavier. Does find at least Levi's here, which is fairly impressive indeed. CEO later off in the wings, looking to see if he could spot any of the players here in Lipovka. Alter Ego, they drop in Lipovka itself. This is where they've resided for a very, very long time now, looking to potentially get a little bit more out of it. But Melise have them surrounded. Reject once again, surviving their position, will have to move forward. They know that UDO Alliance are behind them.
UDO, what can they do in a spot like this, playing on the hillside? Lax, adjusting the crosshair, paranoid about the smoke expiring to his left, but wants to prioritize the correct angle. Hoping they can get some shots off onto Reject once they expose themselves. They've got a 3-pronged smoke wall blocking themselves at the minute with the tree geometry providing a bit of cover as well. Slowly pushing their way up past the bushes now as Lufa will jump in the rotate car. Should have got info on that as well as he drove up. Seems like he knows he could be peeked from the ridge side. So we'll smoke that off and try and cover himself. That's up top Blank. It's got the DMR as well to work with potentially here. It seems like it's the shotgun also. Nice little DBS for close range engagement.
Really
and nade for Boo.
Inko,
that could be a bit of a banger. Seems like it should be on target.
Now they drop over towards that trash loop over towards the western side of prison.
Nice shot comes through, and I think that's from MBE Esports actually over towards UDO Alliance.
A little bit of Sosnovka.
Continue to lose members. Squash finally does go down off in the distance. The circle does center up and confirm up towards Lipovka, so any team that made that decision early is happy about it. But look at this, UDO Alliance is losing members left and right, but the drop shot will at least keep them alive for a little bit longer, but the drop shot just ends up with them being dropped themselves. UDO Alliance out and Reject up to 5 eliminations. A very different face on this team, looking more Oni-esque today. Demonic coming through from Reject.
You do have to run a couple of risks, right? You've got to roll the dice a little bit to guarantee yourself some of those elimination points. Not playing as timid, fighting when necessary, trying to play towards center, contesting for edge control when needed. It's better from Reject. They've got to maintain that, keep that course going, don't let it drop off now, as they do at least find their way through the test of UDO and control that one. NBE keep popping up all over the shop. It feels like NBE have just been running back and forth, trying to get
stay
your
alive
rotates
from this
in a little
roadside,
bit
having little
earlier
moments of chip
to see how
damage
well
onto
you can
anyone that
set
peeks
up
into
for
them.
things.
They're still here for
Even the
now,
Galaxy
just in
as well.
front of Rejects.
At least
They're
fair
exposed
play,
if
you know,
they
you
go
get
for a
that
bit of a
first chicken
push. They're just
dinner
using
in.
the
You started
smokes
off
to
a bit
hold
better.
themselves for now.
You
But
go for
Zara
dead last
is
in the
engaging with
lobby
it.
to
It's a
moving up
nice
towards
first nade.
12.
Got the lineup on
And
the
that's already
second
a
as well,
pretty
Blank.
good shift.
The nades
But it's just the
alone
fact
could
that
be
you
enough
really
to
have
deal
to
with them.
break down
Man, the long
wall of
arm
this
on
mid
Zara is
portion
looking
all
good,
the
but
way up from
nasty
12th
shots coming
to
in from the
fifth place.
Kaze.
It's gonna
Through
be
the
so
smoke,
much more of
takes
a
down a
harder
fair
craft,
few
right?
of
You're
them.
basically
Now
looking at, like,
Duello
25
left
points
to
minimum
challenge
to
versus the
even
Kaze
clear a
off in the
majority of these
distance.
teams.
Nice
Even
shot
then,
on the
that's not
edge,
gonna
but
put you in the top
quickly
five.
cleans them all
And,
up.
you're
And
thinking
what a
constantly,
clean finish
as
there
quick
from
as we
Kaze
can gain
at the
points,
end. It looked
everyone
like it was
else
all
can
done
be
and
at the same
dusted
rate
for the
as well. So
squad,
it's some
but
targeted fights
fantastically
potentially gonna
well
need
held
to be
out by
forced out
Kaze.
from them.
Gladiators still
We'll see how
at
they
4
opt to
players
approach
alive,
it
but
and how
one
well
of the
they can
final
play on
teams
these
to be
free
on
Aaron
this
Gals as
northern
well.
edge alongside
Hello.
them and NBE Sports.
Rock's a bit
Map
slippy,
balls up to 5
apparently.
eliminations.
That
Gladiators up
Moss
to
coming
8. They're
back to
doing
bite
good
these
here. You
teams from
asked about
BTR
a bit of a
that last
repeat.
game.
We even heard
Fizzy
about
Jiva,
the
sorry.
dinner bell,
But
and so far
interesting,
Gladiators
I
have been
mean, you
hitting us
bring
with
up good
some
point in
nice
terms of, like,
mashed
the profit
potatoes
game
at
as
the
well, in
moment.
terms of
These
when
rotates
Galaxy
have
to go,
been clean.
whilst also you're imagining some of these teams at the top side will
Whatever
continue
they're
to gain
cooking up
those
today,
points.
Blank, it looks like it
is a pipe
fresh,
dream,
not
and it feels
frozen.
weird having to talk
Nothing
about with the team being in
reused
12th
here.
place. But
Ooh,
yeah, for
turning
any of
up
these
the
teams down
heat,
towards
though,
the
as the
bottom,
kitchen
clearing those
metaphor
points towards that
continues.
top
Have to
side
get out of
is a
that
possibility,
one.
right?
Melise
With
set
enough
a
chicken
blaze,
dinners,
couldn't
it's
handle
just
it.
difficult
Kiss you,
doing it in this kind of
dropped.
lobby
As the
where
M4
getting those
will give him
consistent
the
chicken dinners on
damage
board with
business
high
being
elimination
done.
games is
Marbles
really
close
tough
by
where
as
there
well.
are so many
They can
great
start to
squads
breach
in
and
this
clear,
lobby.
take the
The
players
reason
out
that we
that are
didn't see
inside
such a
of these
massive
buildings now,
shake-up
but
in the
Frozen
standings
crumbles.
after that last game in
Cracks
terms of the
under
top side
pressure.
lobby is because a lot of teams towards the bottom
Sheepish,
of the
constant
leaderboards
damage being
won
fired out
out
by
in that last
Gladiators,
match
sure,
and won out
but
big,
no
and it
one
was some
wanting
more
to
of
make
our
the
middling
first
teams were able to
mistake.
get some
You have
points on
such a
board.
sheer
So
number of
for Team
squads,
Queso,
all
for
close,
Siege Evos,
shoulder
for
to
FaZe,
shoulder
they did not
inside
move
of these
too much in that
compounds,
last
with
match.
only
Udo Alliance
Gladiators
and IHC
being
take
able
up
to
that mantle
complete
where
the push down
DX and
towards
BTR
the
were
beach
holding
side.
in before.
They're in a pretty
So
dream
things
spot right
haven't
now,
changed
and
too
it's going to be
much
so
in
much
terms
harder
of
for them to hit back with teams that can
并分下雨夜在凌晨
inside of the neighborhood. A nasty neighborhood.
我是湖南经视主持人高旭。
People just aren't picking up the newspaper, they're turning the Amazon delivery guy away. They will not be handing that through the post box to their next door neighbour at all. But for Gladiators,
which is the
what
tough
an
part of the
incredible
game.
circle for
Now
them.
they just
Moving
need to get
towards
the
this north
placements on
side,
board,
they've had
which
direct
seems like after that
contact
last sandhog
with a lot of these teams on the
doesn't seem to
southern
be too
edge.
much of a big
What's
deal.
great about this
Look at the
rotate
map,
from
though,
Gladiators
Maples
as well
sending
is that they
Center very,
forced
very
out the
early
Maples
Inco
from this
extremely
position
close
just with
to
sheer
Duxan in
firepower.
very
Up to
potentially a
9
fight between them
eliminations
popping off
set
fairly
50
shortly.
points
And Team
after the back
Queso,
of this
our
game,
third-place
just
team,
around
was
about
on fire
18 points
yesterday,
behind
down
Maples, who
towards
we
Primos.
know had a great day yesterday. This has been very, very good stuff from the Gladiators. And again, it's that pressure off
You know,
in
I'm
that
hoping
first
as well,
game
maybe there
that
is a
allows
little
you to
bit more
succeed
room
later
today
on. They're
for
moving in
stock
over towards
to
MBE
rise for
Sports.
Reject
Sec,
Tokyo.
barely any HP.
Although I
The
feel like
vehicle
maybe
flies over the top and
difference
Sixie's
to that
there
is
on a
that they needed
Kaze.
to
He's quickly
really
put down
squeeze as
and
much as they
MBE
could
Sports
out
is
of that
out.
opening. So
Oh
Hawk
my
was good for
goodness
them
me,
with the
Gladiators
control
are
they had
fighting.
when they were taking pot shots What down. are we watching, Blank? Onto Is this a Enigma. Michael
That
Bay
had me
movie?
thinking,
Because
yeah,
that
maybe
was a
today's the day. Maybe
blockbuster.
this is where
They
they
come
start to
flying
spread
through
their
the
legs
air,
a little bit
hit
and
the
actually have a
gritty
good
on that
start.
one.
Thinking,
It was
maybe
shocking
today,
orange,
you know, it's where they
mid-pack movement. And the 2v1 as well. This is ridiculous. It's like Mary just puts his bullets down range. This was a great
just in case anyone was between the trees, likely Maki's going to be a sacrifice in this situation, but he's got great lines of sight over towards Duxan, providing very, very difficult terrain for Duxan to deal with. They step out of the way of the bullets from Kitsune as well as Tixie and Matic. They step directly into the bullets from Maku, who's very much safe on this outer edge. Luckily, Zipian is able to get some shots back over towards Kitsune, but it's just Maku and Tixie lighting them up.
They're the Hydra right now, as well. It feels like if you sever one head, two more will grow back in its place. That's what Gladiators are doing right now. A single knock results in them finding two elims, or the elims could keep on coming as well, but maybe it'll go in favour of Mad Balls as Alter.
Yeah, if
Ego
Alliance
wanted
sort of
to
makes
try
sense
an Ego
considering like they're a
challenge,
very good
but
edge
they go
team, so
down
if they
quick.
come in late,
They've got
they're a
cinder
comfortable
block
team to play
shoes on
that
that
late
one.
game, right?
As
When you're on the
Malice third
outside, you're taking
party,
some fights going in, you're
Marbles hold
slowly
on to their
working up your
compound.
control.
Gladiators
For
though
IHC
still
on the other hand,
showing that
Nova
they're
at night is
handy
just
with
so
the
full
sharpened
of loot.
steel,
A lot of times you
slicing
just
their
want to
way
get
through anyone that peeks
massive
into
amount
them.
of utility
Now just
that's
pushing
provided in
up
that
the
area,
road
level
to
3
close
vests
down these
available,
and make sure
huge
these
amount of ammo
eliminations are
count
theirs
to
for
fight
good
your way
blank.
through those
Yeah,
later parts
Tixi
of
flies
the
over
game,
towards that
and being
position,
able
has
to
the
make
M4
a
in hand.
nice rotation on this
Lovely
eastern
nade over the
side,
top as
swing
well.
up towards
Finds
the north and maybe
Hoxie,
push in
now
through
just
like
binning in the back
Pachinki.
here. Another
That's
nade
not a bad
flies
idea for
over the
IHC at
top.
all.
Nice
We'll
little
see what they get
Molotov will
up to
shoot
off
underneath
the
the
back of that
vehicle,
one, 'cause
has
it doesn't
eyes
look
on.
like they're
Just
gonna
needs
go
to
for an
hit these
Eastern
shots
Bridge
now,
push
but
here
he's
with the way
sort
they're
of being
posturing
cut off
on this
by
side,
the
maybe just
fire,
trying to
by
stay
the
out the
smoke.
blue for as long as
Stands up
possible
to
before they
try and
inevitably
hit this one. The
have to
step
head
out is
into it
there, and
and wait for
Tixi
this
gets
next circle
taken
to pop
down.
first.
Maku
So
left
interesting
remaining
stuff
for
from
the
IHC,
squad,
Udo
but
Alliance
honestly, with the
definitely
amount
one
of
of these
damage
places
that
as
Gladiator's
expected
been able
from
to
them.
do,
With this circle,
they've just
though,
been
I'd fully
looking for those
expect IHC
eliminations.
to
We talked
deviate
about this
over
early
towards
on as
that
well,
eastern
Jack,
side
in the
now,
sense
as
that
opposed to pushing
eliminations
through
desperately
the bridge on
what
the
you
western
need.
edge, 'cause
This
that
is
is a
what you can
dangerous push for
confirm in
Maze,
this
but
game.
for
This is
FaZe,
what
who's
you
already
know you can
claimed
handle,
control
and I
of the majority
appreciate
of
that they're
Quarry,
just fighting
this is
for
great
them.
news for them.
Exactly, it's the one
I say
part
that,
that
I
you
said
can
that last game,
control
Jackie,
just by
and they threw
playing
it away.
aggressive, playing
Yeah,
confidently,
it's
and
hard, man.
guaranteeing
It's
those
hard.
eliminations.
It
And that's
felt
what
like,
they've done.
especially in
They
the last
played
game,
for
FaZe kind of
the
did sort of
Elim
tunnel
here.
vision,
Now
where
they can
from
try
the
and
front,
see what
they
they
had
can
a
squeeze out
great
in terms of
lineup. You know, they were
placement,
sort of
because
just
the other
shooting
teams
fish
are
about,
doing the
but from the
infighting
back,
for
they
them,
were so
and it's
exposed.
whittled
They
us
were
down
right
to
in the
only two
open.
players.
Everyone
Really, you've got
saw
to
them
worry about.
and wanted a piece of the pie.
Mad
They were just
Bulls
taking pot shots
licking
at
their
FaZe for
lips at the
free,
prospect
and there
of
was
this
no
one.
easy
They
way
do
for
find
them to
Meku.
defend.
He's
So you
exposed
don't
himself
hear it
behind the
can be a
rock.
little bit
Now
cleaner.
it's simple
We've seen
pickings.
just
As long
how
as Mad Bulls
well
could
FaZe
reset,
play
you do have an
when
edge.
they're
The battle of
activated,
attrition is
when
in
they're
your
coming
camp.
out
They're setting
swinging,
themselves
especially
up for a
towards the
chicken
end of the
dinner,
day.
but
It
Zerich
feels like
will
they just
expire.
get such an upwards
For
draft.
Duxan,
They
this
have
is
the
going to be
Miramar
a
buff
very,
that is
very
always
important
lying
game
in the
for
back
them.
pocket
You know,
as well.
3
So just having
eliminations
some
is not
consistently
ideal. You
clean
go out this
games
second
here
place, 6
on
points,
the majority
9 points
of
total.
the battlegrounds
It
we're going to
doesn't
be
feel
seeing with the
great, but if you're able
back-to-back
to get your chicken dinner off the
is
back
probably
of
the
this
dream
in a
scenario for them. Keep it clean,
1-2v3,
keep your heads
you know,
above water.
13 points
You've always
on
got
this
your
match
safety net
feels really
comfort
decent coming into the
towards
rest of the game.
end
With the
day.
blue pushing in, it is very, very ideal for
Gladiators
them,
on
but
the
the
move
Mad
here
Bulls
as
just
well.
look so
They barely
absolutely
bypassed their way
clean
through
today.
Duxan and
They
co,
looked at
just
yesterday
scouting
as
out,
well, and they picked
starting to see
themselves
what
up
they
yet
can
another
find.
chicken
Obviously
dinner.
very
That is
unlucky
3 in the space
Gladiators
of 2
going into
days.
Sandhawk. Just basically got picked off 1-by-1 and had no way of playing around each other. There was no room for trades whatsoever.
Looking an awful lot
fragmented.
And also
as
now,
we were saying,
it
even
goes
in
back
that
to our
game,
point
though,
about the
it
fact
feels
that
like
you
Gladiators
don't want to leave
basically
it up
chalked
to
up
another
to
team
be
to
left
decide your
in the
fate
lower
in the survival
side
stage. You want to make as many
with how
points
these
as
games have
possible
been going.
in the
So for
limited
them,
number of games you
grand
have to
journey,
play.
not really
And
being
that's
the
what
big
Mad
focal
Bulls are
point,
doing
but just what
in
they can do
droves.
to either potentially
it's a
ruin
stressful
other
game for
teams'
Mad Bulls
runs,
as well. Not an
or
easy
be the
one. You
knock-on
can see
effect for
that
some
they're
squads to
not
move
super
through.
excited about
Is the
this
more
because it's
interesting
more of a
storyline
relief than
there.
anything they're able
Here
to
they
pull off that
engage
chicken
on the
dinner.
rook, take a
Playing
couple of
within
shots, but
Lipovka.
nothing
There was
gained,
so
nothing
much
lost
infighting
just
in that
yet.
area, getting forced out by
Sara,
the
though,
Gladiators.
pick
I
up
think
their
it was a
balls
very
as he tries
wise
to
move
make
for
his
them
way
to actually
away
just
from
send
this
this across from
engagement.
the rock
We see
side
Reject
in the
a little
water
bit further up
towards
the
those
line here
buildings.
towards
Yes,
they had to fight for it
northern warehouses.
but they were confident
well,
to do that, and it sort of gave them that winning position. I think things got dicey as soon as they started to see the circle move towards the north side.
Another elimination point. Rami goes down as well. The Tulika as they send away as fast as possible. So Farouk, this is going very badly for them at the start of the day. Everyone's getting pitched in. Olio looks over towards BTR as they're attempting to get in on that eastern side. IHC very close by too, so could hear this engagement, potentially try and get in, but BTR's rotate just not looking as strong today. Luckily, able to take down the frontline member of Olio. Now Udo Alliance a little bit of a tougher spot for BTR though. The vehicles not really quite here at the moment, so we'll have to get back on this bike, move further in as the circle keeps shifting over towards its western edge. Maples have a little bit of a compound to play around with on this eastern side towards the fielded area. It looks pretty decent for them. See what they can get done with it, but it's Enigma Galaxy once again surprising.
Sorry, I think
decent rotate made on this southern edge. Can play
the #1 Gladiator fan ever. But we have to say, it wouldn't be Gladiators if they didn't show up exactly when they needed to kind of advance on through in an event And hey, you know, credit to them, another massive game for them in terms of eliminations, great position as well. They're able to crash an enemy esports and kind of do the exact same thing the other way around from the prior match. But also Mad Bulls, man.
If Gladiators are there, we're hitting some shots onto them. Maybe this is a side that we can squeeze the 3 points out of, and they might want to engage. They jump to the vehicle at least for the rotation if they want to swoop in on it. Bit of damage back onto Godless. There's a few snipe shots going out from Matic with the mini team. Pushes right here as well, just off in the distance, keeping his belly down on the ground. And he's just going to be opening his ears up to listen about where all these audio cues are coming from, how they're playing it, and assessing if potentially he's going to be pushed, or if he needs to go in for a fight and maybe get some points from it if there's an opportunity to do so. So slow and steady wins the race on this one. Gladiators find their opportunity to exit stage left, do jump into vehicles and go for the quick rotate as the bullets was on by.
Yeah, it's pretty grim rotate for basically 3 teams. You've got IHC, Reject, as well as Gladiators. Getting through 30 pairs is always a tough time. There's a lot of weird sidelines that can open up as you cross through this area. So you be really careful with how you maneuver your way in. Siege Evos do find YDO on the rotate. We'll look to push him off here. The team's not ready to just give him up yet, though, as we do see Neos drop out the back of the vehicle. Zipian is what we're talking about. Kitsune goes down to that angle and will get flushed out too off the back of it. It's a tough rotate to make, and Duxan's doing a great job of holding on. They're on the northern edge of Ferry Pier, currently holding towards that tree line where you've got sight lines looking down in towards Ferry Pier itself, with Zipian holding that front line over towards the western edge of Ferry Pier. Shaded up towards the centre though, BTR made a really quick rotate over towards the northern edge of the ridge, looking down over towards the west side of Quarry. They do take a knock here though, to break things up, with IHC making the same rotate, just following them in. His team is so confident in their gun skill and their gunfights, they're happy just to follow a rotate in and try and beat the team that made it to a spot before them.
Swim all the way back to Lipovka. They are lost at present. They are taking, I said it before this game, constantly taking risks here in PUBG Mobile. They're playing a very risky style. They've got splits, they're walking where they shouldn't be, going where they shouldn't be, and eventually, yes, they salvaged this, but only because teams that had track of them swimming probably was the seizure, but they got kind of rocked up on Gladiators and kind of lost in the mix. So they were allowed to come back up on the shore of Lipovka.
Looking to see if they can clean up nicely. I've got a lot of nades to work. Roam on in 2 players in the vehicle as well.
Well, that's the best you also find out.
Nades to a lot of their feet. Roam on in 2 players in the vehicle as well. Blows them away. Nades to a lot of their feet. Blows them away. And completely shut down.
Pretty cruel timing on the nade as well, because I think they all pulled the pin on that one. They cooked it perfectly to send directly over the top side to the back line of IHC. But then in that moment, they all just send into one singular spot. And those nades can just all be thrown at once. So when you're in a close area like that, where the nades are all prepped and ready to go, instant death coming through for IHC. So 0 points, 0 eliminations as well on this game for IHC. 53 points, which allows BTR to maybe reclaim their spot towards that top 5 and 6th place. 4 eliminations found from IHC themselves. Not what you want to see. Reject go. Dear me, Inco just gets the spray down. The rest of Reject coming in quick, but again, the sideline is open. If they get the smokes down quickly, potentially they get their teammates back up on their feet.
Potentially able to win some rewards you can show off to your friends. Also, while you're playing in this one, don't forget about the Pagani collaboration happening with PUBG Mobile as well. You can rub the engine with the iconic Pagani Mobile and Zonda R models, which I believe.
They've got the info from it as well. Superboy went for the close drive-by so he can get the read and knows what they're up to, knows what Reject are doing here. Look at the nade onto Sara as well, banking off the tree. Splash damage not going to clean up. Matic, meanwhile, takes a bullet and Inco engage onto DX. This fight drawn out for so long. BTR just ping-ponging back and forth from the left and right, taking peeks onto Gladiators.
Last but not least, before we head to a break here,
the move up from Meku. He's trying to get close towards the tree line, using the smoke to give him cover. Not quick enough though. His Gen 4s will hit that one blank, and they're really manhandling them. BTR doing a great job of outplaying 2 teams at once here.
All aboard the
Gladiator train. left us alive here will go down. BTR up to a strong count of eliminations now with, I think that makes 7 potentially, just the 6 as one of those eliminations was stolen away. That was fortunate timing on the rotate from Gladiators to BTR, which gives time for Reject to get back up on their feet, but they're taking more and more nades here as even Ducksand starts to get involved. This has been a horrid rotate for Reject where it's been team after team coming their way, and BTR comes in to maybe clean up the finishing remaining members. Duello realizes he's just got to send away, potentially get some placement points off the back of this match. Tinko on the sidelines even taking shots towards Ducksand. This has been a brutal position on the map here, Jackie, for so many squads.
Yeah, this is basically getting renamed as a graveyard right now, Blank, with how many squads have just been absolutely battered here. It's been wild. This fight's been so sustained for such a long time as well. Everyone just looking to barely limp out of it by the end of this when the dust has settled. The zone's going to get even smaller as well, so everyone will be ushered closer. Ooh,
well, Max,
BTR
I know
still
how
going to be
you
in
are
the
the
safety
biggest
net.
fan of Gladiators, but let me be, we don't have to talk about them too much more, because it looks like with the points they've got in these last 2 matches alone,
them,
that
so
should
you can
almost guarantee them a safe
you could
position
basically be the
into
bouncer
our
that denies
last
entry
chance.
to a lot of
However,
these other
it
big
does
name
get easier for
squads
them.
as
Keep in
well.
mind, it's only
FaZe
16
being
teams
one
advancing
of
from
them.
this
So
into
tons
that,
of talent
and
down
only
that
5
side
teams
with
advancing from the last
BTR
chance to
just
get back
sizing them
into
up.
the PMGC
I'm
Grand
waiting to
Finals.
see
So
if
a lot
they
of
can strike onto
so a lot
them.
of work to come
Reject
for the
again
Gladiators,
having a
and
nice
obviously a lot of
bit
other
of
teams out there,
ground
but we are
to
about to
play
head into our
with in
second
terms
air
of
and
high
go.
ground.
My question is
They
this:
might have an angle
Polaris,
down here
Ultra Ego.
if they want to read
Are we
onto
going to see
this one.
rotation
They know
again?
BTR were right near them as well, so probably not going to let their guard slip too much. Hold on, I mean, you're being pushed in. Map is in the close compound, running around looking for BTR seem to have been hit from FaZe as well. So one man's down. Misjump from Frozen, doesn't get himself up on the roof, so they're still playing down in the muck right now. Oh, heavy hit into Coops though. Good comeback there on the shot.
Yeah, you can't quite.
Hey, go,
really bad news there. A few times afterwards. BTR on the side get shot out by FaZe, but again, Reject still taking more fire. They've gone through so much meds at this point in time, dipping into their fallen teammates at this point, I imagine.
I'd have to get out the notepad.
We can't break it. Free goes down though.
No, it's just
Lord very low. Bulls want to get a little bit more done here. They had a strong position on that south side. Look to take down the Galaxy now. Tulika's in. Nice spray, and there is a quick response from the rest of the squad as well. Not allowing Tulika to fall here. Nade's going upstairs. It's all popping off. Coops on low HP. Can't finish off that final number. There's a 360 as he comes in. Doesn't quite find it. Luckily, Fleeka's there at the end, and that looked messy from the Mad Bulls. Down to just one last solo player. That should have been a lot easier than it was. Everyone's lining up to get rezzed up as they know the sidelines coming through the window are horrendous. In the meantime, Passenger Evo hot on pursuit. Keep a little bit of that lightning in a bottle for the last chance phase.
Not a moment.
But again, they've just started stepping it down. That's what I'm talking about.
Mad Bulls, man, counting their blessings on that one. Resetting themselves and at least thinking forward now. Whoa, brute force, there's no going to be thinking today is you're done. Lose zone, last man standing there on his pod, finished off. They got the shots off BTR. They were looking like they were starting to spread their legs a little bit, start to move on up the hill as they want to get into a better position. They've taken a couple of shots from the hillside. That's Evos that are keeping the pressure on them. So no easy ones for FaZe. You really do have to scrap every bit of ground you take, because there's just so many squads here. Mad Bulls as well now after resetting, looking to reply, potentially onto Pappy and Co. As they're backstabbing. Pappy Potro's right in close range with the DPS. Wins one to the first. He's got back up as well from the rest of the squad, and it seems like Big Milo's going in to close the gap. Jumped into the buggy. Meanwhile, they're going to be able to bounce their way through 2 members, make that free as the squad is being demolished, and they all go down. Big Milo's the last to fall as he's taken out by Ducksand. Tulika though gets lit up by the zone. Close blank, they're right in their face, but this one is not easy. You're so exposed from so many angles.
In fact, Fleeka just flew through the vehicle, took down 2 I believe, and got an eliminate on the road kill as well. Kind of incredible on the back of that. FaZe now still trying to deal with Besiege Evos to keep sending nades in towards their location. It's an easily nadeable spot here on the side of the map. Red FaZe still has two in the back pocket. Fleek sent in a couple of his own, but FaZe holding on. Trying to weather this one out as much as possible here, but the nades blowing up in their face, leaving them blinded.
At the end, right? Because I think we've kind of beaten the horse on that one, really, in the way the game, the fights that are going on all around them. That's what I mean. Nades for the smoke, it's not worth it. Bit of a reset. It is a shame. Quick adjustment from Mela. Mela that really has been such a star player as well. With the interview we had with Rosemary, he has been the hype man for FaZe, commanding front and centre on stage. They were looking like they were playing. Being knocked down, he'll be taken out as Misery connects onto it. Flick shot back and forth. Red FaZe gonna go down quick. Mela, lucky to be alive. Low HP, has the nade to play with, but his feet are exposed. And Misery will connect onto that, takes down the size 12 shoes. Looks to focus on Warman as well. Back up from the other side as Lynx is there to assist. And they're punishing them. FaZe are just being absolutely obliterated, Blank. Is there some sort of comeback to be had here?
Onzen's able to make it happen in the dire moments of that fight as well versus BTR. Little clutch up coming through from him. FaZe happy with the back of this game. 6 eliminations will do the trick. Madball simply trying to make it in on this south side, but they take another knock in the process. You can see Zerich trying to get into some semblance of a position, but rotated in from this south side of the map. He's rotated directly into open area. The best thing Madballs could do here is to try and get some more elimination points on the board. Speaking of eliminations, though, Duxam with a hefty 8 so right now, really just going for some serious third parties all around the map at the moment. Onzen, barely any HP left remaining, which isn't always feeling a lot like the rest of the team on FaZe at the moment. Dead right now, Frozen gets taken down by Junie, taking him up to a fat 9 eliminations here. It's once again Junie who is pulling out the big numbers for this squad.
In the bottle, saved away for that last chance. Right now, I think they should be very pleased with the place they're currently in first. Obviously, Influence Rage still has another game to play.
He's got his wits about him. That spidey sense starts tingling, and he finds opportunities to hit crack shots to snatch away Elim
certainly done more than enough to secure their position at this point. The rest of these games now,
top spot
for them,
still at least
should just be studied,
enough eliminations
right?
To keep your head afloat.
Kind of play style, maintain this kind of pressure on the rest of the squad, because
if you
more
want to
than
be
likely you are going to have to play against
be entirely guaranteed
again.
But now they'll at least just lurk it
out. So the more they can stake their claim on
to
positions around the map, the more they can stake their claim on these rotations
when it comes up to a position where you can grab additional
maybe a little bit scared to run into.
We'll see if FaZe
you do have that
the potential placements later on this one. Doesn't seem like it anymore. Quick pop-up. And I think that's Junie once again, who's instantly just found the long-distance shot and wiped FaZe off the face of the battleground. So they're gone for good, and we start to whittle down our squad. Definitely would increase your protection a bit.
It's true. This is prime opportunity now to say the guys on Duxam. Circle moves down towards the south side. The Ducks are all in a row towards the top side of the hill. Influence Rage through lines. DX all off the move. Looking for a good game here. Kind of sat again in a compound as per usual. It's the Inco way. But realistically, what I'm looking at is you do Alliance. Yeah, they've got 0 eliminations on the board. Again, it's another high placing from them. And that's from all the way in Mill to Power. They move from Influence Rage takes down to which isn't ideal, but it seems to work. More nades that we know are so critical from the side of DX are pouring on over towards Udo Alliance. They just cannot handle this one. Not grenade-proof clothing on today.
In some way, that's a sentence.
He's done a 720 kickflip roundhouse. Oh my lord.
Oh, Influence Rage might be stopped though on the close quarters connection. As Lepar leaps out, cleaves round the corner, in the car. Does enough damage onto the man in front of him. They're going to be shut down bit by bit as little boy is snatched away by Inco. Right, put the skateboards down. Lepar goes running. Oh man, how has Duxam been able to find so many distance frags from this hill? They're looking unbelievable with the spray control blank, and that's another one. They do not stop. Binny is putting everyone in a bin.
So far, 13 eliminations as well. They're squeezing out some serious value from from this game, Jackie. Sort of crazy the way they're playing this one
members, I would
Look,
say,
if we look at the way this lines up, there's 4 players on Inco, 3 over towards DX. If they're able to get all of them at the end of this game, looking at a 20 elimination match coming through from DX going forward. So that would drop them 30 points upwards in the tables. It would be the most unbelievable climb. Junie once again unleashing hell down towards DX.
Potentially not going to get a high placing off the back of this, but they could have easily taken up where Duckstan was playing.
Downhill and tagging them up.
Good stuff.
It's crazy how good Duckstan have been at just dealing damage from a distance in this game, and they're not stopping. Junie with some juicy frags today, like that's another one. As he'll be able to knock another man, squash, still standing, looking for those tracing shots, seeing if he can keep his set focus, but it's Junie that does most of the work.
It did feel like one of
DX
those
are gone,
where,
so Duckstan versus Inco then into the final fight. Their gun skill's unbelievable right now. Potentially this has got to be one for the South Korea massive game,
whereas instead
this is an incredible circle for the squad over on Duckstan. Finally they have to move though, but it's Inco having to leave outside this compound. Then a bet shape up close though with that Val. Can Inco win out this game, keep themselves in contention for that top 5? Already done quite a good amount of work here with the placement points on board, but for Duckstan getting a win here with the 4 eliminations, 19 elim game, the biggest we've ever seen here in the last chance so far, would be absolutely, it would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous.
Here's one for you as well, Blank. When we saw that first knock, they'd be up there. The nade is crisp as well. It's not just the raw gun skill that's been big for Duckstan today. Seems like even the nades are on the money. And that one's huge. Blows him away onto his last legs now. Low HP on the rest of the players as they're being hampered. Rafa wasn't even visible. Man was in the smoke and he got smoked more literally, Blank, because he's gone for good now. All of them are being taken down one by one. He's just squashed us left. He eats the molly as well, Blank. This has got to be it.
Zipian on the top side, looking down to the final player of Inco in squash. This has been the craziest game from last chance so far. Zipian loves a nade, but another will do it from QX. A massive elimination count keeps the boys' dreams alive from South Korea. That's going to send them soaring up the leaderboard.
Squeezed here by the hydraulic press.
Good resilience displayed from them. He said one of the elements of Duckstan is that they seem to have good mental fortitude and a complete reset today. And they're ecstatic, Blank. It's wonderful to see them celebrating.
I mean, you just look at where they were before this game, right? At the start of the day, 16. At the start of this last game, 16th place, 15 points. That's going to send them to a very juicy 39 off the back of this. What a game for them. That puts them right alongside with some of the players looking to overtake on that 5th place position. Junie looks back to rest, to sleep, to hold on for a bit longer, but mate, you can't sleep yet. There's still a lot more games to go, and the journey is not done for South Korea.
Reject taking a lot of knocks.
No, not at all. It's only just getting started.
Barely surviving themselves. Good amount of damage. Maku's on the side.
There is a possibility we
swing
could
out.
see a lot more from
We'll take down Maku, and now it's just Matic to try and hold down the door.
It's so sick how many teams have just been going through these facelifts and really commanding respect when it feels like their days are numbered, but it feels like the chance of them getting enough points isn't going to happen. It's been really cool to see these storylines developing, to defend himself. And what a time to do it as well, right? It's last chance, it's last day, and we're getting closer and closer to there being a handful of games left. If you're going to start having blowout blinders like this, I'm living for it.
They're not coming true, because they've gone down without a
and it's only going to get less believable in the future. But there are only 3 lads you can't
but they've slowed it down, as I
have
to. Well done. You know, this is more the Gladiators we're used to. You know, going down the first.
What is it about being last place today and getting a massive game? Actually brought that up. Duckstan getting a huge game that honestly puts him within reach of potentially making top 5 today. We almost counted Duckstan out. We pretty much counted the Galaxy out at the start of the day. But there is a world, there's a possibility if they continue like this that we could see the top 5 shake up even more than it already has today.
Matic and Tixie, not up front and personal with Kitsune and Maku. And you just get shot by teams on the side trying to get in towards that warehouse that Udo Alliance, quite frankly, already had a lot
lot of control over. Could have gone a different way if Meku maybe had found that second shot, but like you said, some great names coming out from Club there on Yuzu Alliance. In the meantime, let's have a look at where some of these other teams are playing. MBE Sports up towards that northeast side. Not a huge amount of points found, but they're consistently in the game, right? And I think that's something that's great to see so far on that side.
29 points right here. Is that a record for?
Yeah, is that our biggest game?
I think it is.
They've been making a lot of cameo appearances.
That's cool, Max.
You know, even in
South Korea's back.
It's
time for Ducksan. Bow down to your South Korean overlords. Here we go. The recovery is on. I mean, look at them at the end of that game. They were celebrating as if they'd won the tournament. And it's not all done just yet here, but that might give them the kick up the rear that they need, because before this, they really needed it. That was massive.
From Copium to Hopium right now.
At least some map geometry to give them cover.
I mean, it is possible, but the problem is we've not seen Ducksan have any sort of replicative results in this match before, in any of the prior matches so far within our survival stage. I mean, Judy putting up 1,000 damage.
He's actually still alive as well. Alright, yeah, so that's just the one man that remained.
It's actually a lot more than expected for 1,008, which is barely breaching the point.
So
but Ducksan, you can see here, 10th place. They were at bottom of the table.
Looking at a placement
game, they are at 44, and all it takes is 11 points to tie up
before we come back to that point.
Like that.
Yeah,
that is
I do think
that is honestly ridiculous.
Definitely comes back to that case of Enigma Galaxy. A lot of their rotations getting read into towards the end of their group and not making too many adjustments off the back of that. Again, even in their group, there was a lot of feeder teams down towards the bottom as well, which just allowed them to make these rotations. And I think you try and do the same thing again here in the survival stage, where every single team is very willing to take shots and has great gun skill. Remember, these are the best teams in the world, all fighting out for a place in the grand finals to really display what their region, what their team has to offer to everyone that wants to watch. So I think that for Enigma Galaxy, again, it's just a case you can't just randomly rotate over heals. So you need to have a bit of scouting going on. You need to ensure you know exactly where some of these teams might be playing, so you can angle yourself in such a way that you can cross and be out of the line of sight of some of these squads that might take shots towards you. If we see it again on that next match from Enigma Galaxy, where they make a random rotate like that and start losing players out the back of the vehicle, I would be fairly remiss to say that this is another team that's feeling like they're going to be in the bottom 8, because I don't sense an adjustment coming through tomorrow.
No, I don't know how you'd give the whole squad a facelift in such a short space of time, right? I don't really think there is enough adjustments that could be made to really change things around quick enough. That's the problem. It feels like we're already getting to that point where, you know, the fine line blank of squads that haven't already accumulated points, especially from Group Green, right? With how tomorrow is going to go, you're not even being there to make a case for yourself, just having to sit pretty and sit on your laurels of the points you've already accumulated. Definitely for a good majority of our squads now, we're seeing that they haven't been able to cut the mustard, haven't been able to really build enough points. But there's been a bit of a change positively for a few of them. At the minute, though, we'll see how things go right here, right now. We'll stick to the facts that we're being given. Again, Reject Tokyo look to try and get themselves a bit more center and try and set up early. Melissa are also on the move down, but most likely have to bypass their way through DX. Roadside setup from MBEs as well, as they've got contact. Inko taking damage from quite far away. The Mini 14 pounding the pressure out and buying them enough time to go back on the res. They've got the ridge as well, so you're covered from the road. They don't have to worry about getting tapped in their head just yet. So they can get Mondo back up. But what's the game plan here? How are they going to play this one?
Yeah, I think your difficulty comes in the fact that, you know, you're getting pushed in by the blue. It's stage 4. It will hurt. You sort of need to make a move soon, but Nasa's sort of unwilling to give up this position on the eastern side. They know how important this compound is to them over towards this eastern side of the circle. They don't just want to let a team get through for free. MBE Sports, on the other hand, decide that, look, we're going to take shots over towards Inko. Becker in the way, gets absolutely crunched, but lives off the back of that. Grazed by the vehicle, but not out yet. Becker continues to take shots and will finish it there and then. Broken leg regardless.
Man, okay. Big balls are fire as damage is done onto the vehicle, and he tries to stand his ground. Becker quick on the medic maneuvers, trying to get the heal in. Meanwhile, with Lise, they're being attacked. DX have crashed onto them, but DS, they've crashed more literally just straight into the faces there, hitting the shots one by one. Melissa expiring as they've been stung by the Scorpions, it seems, Blank. Unable to defend from that one. DX can reset, pick clean the corpses on the floor now as well, and reset the utility they've got to work with, so they're going to be content. Meanwhile, back on the move, Xenox, he's been pretty damn quick with his scouting. He's been able to take some point man positions and look to get the damage out early. Again here, setting his focus towards the bridge. Wants to put pressure on Squash, who's so low, outside the play zone as well. So a single bullet he was hoping for, try and make that elimination his, doesn't go his way. Backs off with at least the read and tries to play with the rest of the team. Vitali, he's got a read on him. Trying to take a couple of shots off, but doesn't want to do this as a solo, Blank. Playing smart, knows he still has a team to work with, even if it just is the three of them.
Yeah, Blue's really being the big pressure point right now for Inco, because they've got to move further in, but they know as soon as they start to head over towards the top side of this lip, they're going to be in the angles of a lot of other teams that are inside the lobby. Freak here trying to hold his own up towards the Wizard Tower. You can see off towards his western side, you got Duxan as well, but Becker very happy to try and take this fight with an incredible hold versus these other squads. Freak, though, takes down Vitali, looks for another, but won't get it and will fall himself. So Enigma Galaxy come away from this game with a one single point up to 6 now. So a 2-point average for Enigma Galaxy so far. Feels pretty horrible. Quest get way further into this game than they have any others, and that's saying something considering we still have 12 teams alive. We see Procedure Evos off towards that central arena alongside with Reject and End Hyper. This could be a great game here for Evos and starting to get some of that points potential on board.
You'd like to see him have a good game as well. The talent that's there on this roster at times, man, feels so powerful. When it's a good sort of mix-up for them as well, when they come in playing off each other's comms very nicely, it's very fun to watch. So having a center position, having firearms in their hands as well, we'll see if they can bring the heat, if they can command respect the longer this one goes on. FaZe back on the move as well, looking to set themselves up as the smokes will be cast out bit by bit. Redface looking like he wants to try and at least have info on this, get the eyes on the situation. The engagement here, though, is pretty easy to clean up versus what remained of Inco. One by one, they have been broken and bruised there. So the Brazilian side removed from the situation now as they'll go out again. That's unlucky in the end there. Inco, of course, fought hard to even make it here, Blank, and they are getting a little bit bullied. Similar sort of things have been happening to Alter Ego. Again, pressure applied on them. Fnatic from the side at least assists where possible, but he's got to scurry off, got to reset on this one now.
Yeah, it's good potential here for them to hold out DX Xavier, right? But at the moment, it's not looking too good. Holds on the spray from quite a while, but at least does find the shots over towards Lamborghini, laying him low. Outside the circle will delay them a lot, making this very uncomfortable for the squad of DX Xavier to make it in. Procedure Evos taking shots over towards FaZe, who are currently huddled up over towards a very, very small shack at the moment. The shots even coming through from Spec here on Nasa. But Procedure Evos currently sat at 28 points in 11th place. Is a team that definitely needs to put some more on the board here. I think for Procedure Evos, they have a lot of history on this team, right? And I think a lot of Indonesian fans would be very excited to see this team go through to the PMGC Grand Finals, specifically just to be able to see the twins there on the grand stage once again. But 28 points, that won't cut the bacon just yet. They need a little bit more on board, and with this very central position they currently hold on to, this is a fantastic game to rack up some big elimination points, to rack up themselves a good amount of placement points too. You know, this should be a second, third, first place game guaranteed.
It needs to be. It needs to come to fruition in that manner. Setting themselves up nicely on this one. So can they coax it out? Can they force a big point scorer from this one? And what's going to happen here in the close quarters engagement with so many teams shoulder to shoulder, all pushing further down As soon as that zone starts nipping at their heels as well, it will cause problems. Isn't much breathing room, so you've got to fight for what you want. Pushing in now on Reject, looking to try and swoop in and steal the compound from underneath them. The nade will aggress first. Julo ready with the shotty as well, firing off buckshot from the DBS. Meanwhile, the building is burning. Luther waits up close. Ooh, didn't even see that one, Blank. Swings round the corner, hits him, takes him off his legs.
Hello.
Reginocio turns for the back door as well. Read this fight well, Blank, but he's been peeked from the window, takes half HP off him. Just waiting now on the off angle, tries to back nade whilst his teammates are fighting tooth for nail. Nade's going down. Who else wants a piece of this fight?
What is this? There's 3 teams on the same compound. Regioso sends out the side into the vehicle to get himself some better angles. He's fighting for his life at this point in time. Spec moves in. Hoxie's half HP and Regioso's out on the edge. Surely he spots Junie, but he doesn't inside the smoke. And now Duckshan have another battle to get through. Need to get more players back up on their feet, but they're falling so quickly. Just Hoxie and Junie left alive. Junie, a veteran of these high-scale tournaments, but Nasa move in at the best opportune time. Will pick themselves up 9 eliminations off the back of this bad boy. Two players left alive, but on the southern edge, this is pretty decent stuff.
Damn, that was an intense fight. That one was a lot easier. That's a slay down there, as we see both of Alter Ego's last remaining members quickly packed up and swept away. Beautiful fight though on the compound, man. Even in the way that Tokyo tried to play it with rejects bouncing back and forth, right? We saw OCO, smart heads up plays at least. Even though they go down in the fight, you could see the gun skill, the mechanics there were out in full force. Nice intense compound crash though, leads us into the rest of the game as FaZe again continue applying pressure. Chow's been overwhelmed, gets bitten to pieces. It's actually Evos are able to steal away the final tag onto that. So getting the extra elim for their troubles. Para Jin though will be put down in the ground as he's picked off by FaZe. Now starting to make their move into the center, getting themselves closer and closer and just trying to play off whatever geometry will actually provide some sort of protection for them. And Torres, suspicious about the smokes as well, knows that there could be someone lurking, waiting to peek. And he's got contact on Star. Quick flick there, hits the head blank and shuts the man down.
Yeah, very nice little shot there and pick up from FaZe. This is a really difficult area of the map to play, honestly. You see a lot of teams play this one out. You realistically just have the tower here. There's a slight dip as we head down. It's almost unnoticeable, but it does give FaZe a significant advantage, in which case they can take shots over towards Xavier. The difficulty is the fact that so much of the western side of the circle is still in play here, that Pasija Evos have a massive advantage. Despite that, FaZe is not letting that up. And it's so surprising we're not seeing Pasija Evos take a little quick peek over towards this eastern side. See if they can pick themselves up some more eliminations. Right now, they're currently running on 12, placement point 16 elims. This is a game where you want to pump those elims up, even if it means you get yourself a second place. But I can see why they wouldn't want to give up the gas station here. But maybe just letting one player out on the loose, you know, sending to the side, find a quick pot shot over towards FaZe, because currently it's a 4-player team. They have a chance to try and take down Pasija Evos in the endgame.
Big chances. Definitely
there it is.
Open opportunity for this one to swing into the favor of Evos now, though. Nice first tag down the hill. Connection across, DX suffering from it as Luxy will be able to spray his way in. Gets the tap off that we needed to see. So the compound control still firmly in their favor, and they're starting to clear out the players that were edging closer towards them. FaZe, meanwhile, still down towards the ridge side. Mormon and Malaya playing together as they start to make their move up. Close on in. You've got a couple of angles of connection here as well. Spec being one of them as he's firing off the warning shots. And then, for Udo Alliance, there's actually a bit of a chance here to just be a fawn in the side. If you're not cleared, you're so far back down towards the ridge. As FaZe come pushing up, you could try and get stuck into it, especially if the timing works for the push down from Spec and they draw his attention. Lots of small nuances on this one, but the big focal point is just the fact that Evos are in a great position to try and command the game. Ooh, rough recovery mission there.
very much so. Chloe just goes down. Link's fine spec as he makes a rotate through. Procedure Evo's now up to 5 eliminations, looking for a little bit more. And they have to push for more here because, you know, a 5 elimination game with a chicken dinner, it's all right. 15 elims, 15 points, sorry, total is decent. But, you know, pumping that as hard as you can here. They know they want more points. It's a very good initial nade that's sent out, but FaZe is on the back line. They're not looking to give this game up. Another amazing nade on the predict over towards G-Fan, and Redface is just sending these over and over again. Another one will take down GK first. Now just FSS left alive, and it will be Redface to stand out for this one. One knock goes over towards Luxy with the 5 eliminations on board. Nade sent over the top over towards FaZe, one of the final teams alongside with Olio over on Udo Alliance, looking for that second place placement point steal.
Evos, this is where you've just got to shut things down, close it out, don't let mistakes start to get out of hand. FaZe fighting tooth and nail though, bombarding down onto Misery, who's forced to hit the deck, so belly down to the ground, drops himself into the vehicle and tries to drive out of there, keep himself safe, susceptible to the shots though, but goes for the getaway. If we can see the res, FaZe will at least have a fair fight in the 2v2 in terms of the players that are currently up, but Evos are going for their recovery as well. They want to grab Link, have some additional numbers in this battle to play with. Quick pop heal as well. Nice peek up. Beautiful damage done with the AR. Switches to the DBS and wants to go full frontal blank. He's getting in their faces.
What is going on? Already we see another knock come through with the DBS. Misery left alive, and he's taking damage here and there, able to clutch it out. But Udo Alliance, they're still in the wings here, Jackie.
Oh, skirting around the outside. Is there anything that can be done? They're low. Now would be the time to strike whilst the players are down. They're knocked. They're on their last legs. Doesn't have the full list of information that we do though, so his decision making will be affected by this. And this just gives more time to Evos to try and reset things. Redface now back up. He's just going to be watching, looking for the peek over. Gets the heal in as well. The longer this goes on, the more numbers you're going to have to fight against. So you do Alliance, the chance of this one being clutched now far harder. Again, falling into a position where this should be a guaranteed chicken dinner for Evos.
Man, that could have been a chicken dinner there for Udo Alliance, and Olio just need a little bit more confidence to try and go in and bruise the pride there of Procedure Evos. He's got 2 nades in hand. There's no utility on the side of Procedure Evos so far, but that might change once they start to loot some of these crates that surround and litter the battlefield. No meds available for Misery other than those stims available for him. Might go for a quick scout in the vehicle. So far this game, Luxy is absolutely putting some mega work for them. 5 eliminations so far. First initial nade sent out. After that, there is another sent over the top. A little bit of damage found, but not a lot.
Yeah, there isn't going to be too much we can really set the stage for on this one, unless somehow he was able to flip the script entirely and pull off the 1v3. That's the situation he's left himself in. So likelihood low, but potential reward very, very high here for Alliance. Just crawling his way around through the reeds right now, staying down in the ground. Luxy is jumping around, trying to get info on this, just wants to spot where exactly he is. They're playing a more fragmented system, just looking for the trade. There's the contact, it seems. Bullets being spammed into the smoke. So just a bit of a pre-fire rather than actually locating where he is just yet. Longevity on this one being played out though, Blank. Fair play to him. You've got the time to work with. You want to make it as awkward as possible. See what he can get done here.
Yeah, I mean, the mistake was made way early, and this should definitely be a Procedure Evos win. But the thing is as soon as you see the teams go down to 2 and the amount of knocks that came through on the elimination field, Olio should just be sending in, looking for elimination points where he can. Does find a little bit of damage to start things off, but that'll be all it is as Redface finishes him off in a 21-point game there for Procedure Evos, which will make them feel a lot more secure in their standing, right? But yeah, I definitely think that Olio could have got, you know, at least 2 elims off the back of that if he just tried to flush 2 of the players, maybe even a chicken dinner. If he just went sooner, I think, it's, like I said, as soon as you see those knocks in the elimination feed, as soon as you see it drop down to 2 teams remaining, you just fly in. You just fly in because the result is the same either way.
No, it's very true, right? There is no worse outcome. There's nothing that's going to result in you getting less points. You're not going to be forced into a third out of nowhere. I agree with you, man. As much as it's one thing where he didn't have the full situation, we obviously have a little bit more information. Going into a fight like that where they've just had that final fight, no matter what, HP is going to be low. He was basically in a 1v1 with a half HP player, but obviously didn't have the chops on him to go for it. You can see the excitement here, though. EVOS looking very vocal. Luxy telling the stories from that one as they relay some of the plays they just made. Fair play, though, for what it was, Blank. Procedure Evos playing a great game there. Had a good setup early. They were confident in the way they wanted to take the compound and played it smart. So you do love to see that.
Yeah, it's awesome to see Luxy topping the tails in terms of damage and eliminations there. I mean, well-revered player within PUBG Mobile esports, just fell off massively over the past couple of years, but it looks like he has really put in the work and he's returning to form, honestly. It's amazing to see, because it really was that Luxy sort of was overshadowed by the likes of Ryzen and as well as Zuxi back on BTR. But look at this, Luxy's really making a stand, so he's constantly pressuring the issue, constantly trying to push for those big heights in the future, which is amazing. I'm really, really glad to see it. But again, UDO Alliance, a little bit of a throw at the end there, a little bit of a throw from Procedure Evos. They could have lost the 2 players there from FaZe, but just like Luxy, let's get back to basics with the desk.
That's right, Procedure Evos getting themselves the victory here off the back of this. We lost Jason for just a little minute, but we will hold down the fort just as Procedure Evos held down Gas Station. Looking fantastic whilst doing it here, Max.
Yep, and able to weather the storm with 2 teams pushing on their location, right, Kalaris? You had, of course, Hyper going downhill across the road, trying to go for the engage, which, of course, you are in this location. It's very easy to abuse with that third-person perspective. You can just jump, chuck the nades, get the easiest eliminations in the world onto Hyper, but then FaZe trying to go for a third party, and I really thought that was going to be the end of Procedure Evos, but it's down to Misery. He's able to clutch it up, go for the res, and get rid of the final player of UDO Alliance. That is how you hold down a position like that. You just make sure you can use those walls to its full potential, and that's 21 points here to start off this match.
Yeah, absolutely. Oftentimes we see the Gas Station as having a little bit of a vulnerability, right? Because there is that small little gap underneath the walls. However, they did a great job of zoning people away from even having angles on that little gap. And then, as you say, blasting them with the nades as they came close. So 21 points go their way. NASA, for the most part, we thought might have a grasp on Gas Station, kind of moved a little bit to the east, but eventually just started blasting everything anyway for those south rotates. So, I mean, it's a really big game for them as well.
I think it was J7 that was in the warehouse, and they had this, not in the warehouse, in the gas station, and they had this massive 4-man split, and I thought, okay, they're going to wait for the next circle, and based on where it goes, they're going to regroup normally in what I thought at the time was going to be gas station, but no, they regrouped to the eastern side, then wrap around the southern side of the river to fight Inko, which I was a bit surprised by that, Kalaris. I didn't expect them to do that. They just completely obliterate Inko. Then third-party Reject that were fighting Duxan come out on top of that to get then, as you saw, 9 eliminations. It's the craziest way to get to that point, but I mean, the eliminations showed up, so I can't argue too much. They got the points they needed in this match.
No, indeed. Them alongside D Xavier as well, with the amount of elims that they were able to garner. Very important for their campaign across what is only 2 days of gameplay, with also UDO Alliance kind of making what I would say almost a surprise entry when it comes to the upper echelons of this game. Not necessarily because of the circle and how things were playing out, but they were in a very wide split to start things off, Mac, for UDO Alliance. And then I think when it gets down to that 4v1, 3v1 scenario at the end, it's very difficult for him to make that call to try and crest the hill, right? Considering the elimination feed and how it all works out.
Exactly, you just have a big lack of information. It's like, did the entire team get flushed out? Is there just one 3-man team remaining? Is it going to be like a bunch of solos? We're just not quite sure at that point. So let's not take the risk. Let's try and survive to try and just secure second place. So I do get the idea. If you did know, that was a misplay, but I just, as you said, I don't think he had the information that it was a full squad. So if he did know, then unfortunately it could have been the good time to strike, but it was still a second place. So a good match, and currently the best match for UDO Alliance.
Hello, Jason.
I was actually just doing my impression of Gladiators that game, just not being here.
I don't know. That's a little mean, but I think this game though was mostly just about the teams who desperately needed to get some points under their belt, getting those points under their belt. You guys already talked about Besija. Obviously, this is their last day of play as well, so they really have to rack up as much as possible to build that buffer. UD Alliance, this is the first time they are playing, so they can get some steam going here as they go on forward into this one. And Nazar, which, I mean, 9 eliminations. That's a good start. I think for me, for a team like that, it's a confidence booster. It's to show them that, okay, we can compete against these teams, even though we might have been struggling the first couple of matches, but where can they go from here? And obviously, we still have that one Erangel left to come today. Gladiators, yeah, going out early, but again, they should be relatively safe. Alter Ego, not really much to say about them either. If you had anything to chime in with Kalaris, but
I mean,
not gonna
honestly,
force you.
I mean, as you're saying for Nasser, I like their decision making to just start sweeping and start eliminating. Like, if you think about giving up a gas station location, yes, you could sit on the edge, on the east edge of that circle and just slowly creep up to that. Maybe you'd have to kind of have a bit of a skirmish with the remaining members of Alliance, kind of north of you, as they're also wanting to be approaching from that similar angle. Maybe you lose people out on that, but they decided, no, let's take that south side, which is covered a little bit more by, you know, the terrain as a whole, and actually take some really good skirmishes. So I'm impressed from that game.
I agree. Well, we'll see if they can maintain any sort of momentum though going into the next match here. Let's throw it back to our casters, Jack Gimbley.
Thanks, Jason. I know, man. It's a treat blank, right? With the way that the games have been going so far today, they just keep delivering. We keep getting some real moments of excitement. So honestly, I'm just kind of living for it, man. This is a good time to be enjoying the survival stage from a safe position, anyway, right? If we're in the games, different story. But watching them, I'm having a field day.
Absolutely. I love that. You know, Jason is so excited that he went slow-mo for that throw. That was amazing. Beautiful stuff. We got the hands up. Everyone wants to speak to the teacher, apparently. Tulika doesn't know what's going on. That's fine. Zerich is slamming down. What a weird scenario that was. Okay. I do feel, yeah, it's like 2 boys in the back, like, we're just here. Zerich and Tulika are doing everything. Zerich is like, another rotation gone wrong again. But to be fair to the Mad Bulls, I think honestly Tulika probably is a little bit stressed because he has done so much work for them. I think he's really, really doing well for the team, and they should be very, very pleased with his results because I think he's come a long, long way in the year he's been playing with the Mad Bulls. It used to be a case that he was a bit of a loose cannon on the team, always going a little bit too far away from them, but he plays much more as a good teammate now. Supporting Zerich and being a great frontliner without getting too aggressive. So I've been very, very excited to see the development coming through from Tulika in particular.
He's looking good, man. He really is. And I think, you know, it's interesting because this entire Mad Bulls roster can definitely deliver at times. And we've always kind of set that precedent that they are very exciting to watch. They are very explosive. It just wasn't super consistent, was I think the problem with it. Whereas now, at least into survival stage, it kind of seems like something has clicked and they've realized, you know, we really need to make sure that we're the ones making our own future for ourselves. So we're free chicken dinners already under the belt, which by and large, you know, that's no easy feat. They've definitely had to put the work in. That's over the space of the 2 days as well. And we're only really, you know, a handful of games in today. We still have this last Erangel and then 2 Miramars as well. So anything else Mad Bulls can find on the day, they're going to be happy with. We'll see, though, as we are getting back into it. Third and final Erangel then. So any chance for some last-minute shenanigans, we'll see if they'll be coming out.
Yeah, I mean, for some of these teams, might want to go for a hot drop potentially. It's the last map of the day, so it's one where you could pull out some secret sauce moves on the Erangel match, especially with Group Green, this being their final match of Erangel they will be playing, so they could surprise some of these teams. Maybe. We'll see what happens if they just keep it basic, though. I think a lot of these teams are kind of really leaning into consistency more than anything at this point in time, realizing that, look, it's not easy to pick up these points, and I think for us, it's just a better idea that we just keep things going the way they wanted to. But Zerich actually drops over towards Nasa, but I think this is more of a case of this playing path causing this more than anything. But this is going to be difficult, particularly with the fact that a lot of the Mad Bulls are not in close contention. Luckily, they've got 2 shotguns, which are going to be extremely useful in this close range combat that they're going to get themselves into very shortly.
It looks so terrifying watching a man in a raincoat with a blade just crouching around the corner blank. It's very horror movie-esque, but it's not October anymore. It's November, so we're getting closer towards the Christmassy season. I imagine we'll see some gifts being given out inside of the compound, most likely being bullets, though, with those shotguns. Seems like the phones are going down, and there probably has been a technical issue, so probably going to need a rehost on this bad boy, so cut short. Not going to be seeing any shenanigans on this one. We'll relive it, get things sorted, and then get people back in for another test on the old Erangel.
I do like that, you know, it sort of felt like Mad Bulls stopped that match. They were like, we're in a horrible situation, guys. Can we just get a rehost? Come on, man.
We shut it down.
Yeah, we shut it down. I mean, I think most teams, considering how quickly we got that rematch as well, down, slam of the desk, considering how quickly we got that rematch going through as well, most teams would be pretty pleased with how that one worked out, considering how horrible that playing path was, right? Not easy to work through with.
Yeah. No, exactly. Honestly, unless we roll the dice and end up getting a critical fail again, right? It should be better. It should be better than that for most of the squads in terms of easy routes to your common drop spots. So hopefully won't be all doom and gloom for them, and it shouldn't take too long to get things sorted out and straight back in. Nice seeing some of our players on screen as well today, Blank. You know, there's not been a lot of time with the player cams today, and it does give us a bit more of an insight into how some of the teams are looking. That sort of human element. Oh, hello, I say human. We've got man them Sith Lord over here.
I know. Maku just in the dark right now.
Look at him.
Yeah, very spooky.
I have the power to win any chicken dinner, no matter the length of time in the survival stage.
Oh, dear me.
Unlimited points on the last day.
That's what they need. That's what they need at the end of the day. I mean, realistically, we need to start getting some of these points going. And if you need to become the Sith Lord, you need to start shooting out some bolts of lightning from your fingers to get it done. All respect to Meku, realistically.
Hey, I'll give it to him, man. It's a good look. Honestly, it's a good look. This is nice, though. I have missed this. You know, even seeing Quest on screen, man. You know, Al Haji, the man is just so emotive as well. Kind of wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit. So it's nice sort of getting a glimpse with the camp of Quest, seeing how they're looking. Obviously, rough day for him. Rough span of days, really. But still looking like at least the mental fortitude is there. A little bit of frustration, maybe bubbling to a boil. But that could be used to their edge. The FaZe cam now on screens as well. And damn, we got the stats to back it up as well. FaZe not actually having a bad day of it, to be honest, Blank.
Yeah, I think for FaZe, it's been pretty decent. I think we got the dance moves from Mela earlier on, and now we're coming back for some more. Oh, okay. I thought I was going in a different direction. We got the love heart instead. That's great. Thank you very much. For FaZe, honestly, that last game was really, really cool. I enjoyed the fact that we saw the almost 2v4 coming through. They looked pretty strong with it. There's definitely some strong players on that team. Melo and Ventora's really, really long-standing players within the scene as well. PUBG Mobile, they've done some really good stuff in the past. We got Enigma Galaxy on screen at the moment. A team that's just kind of struggled, right? And I think that one of their major issues, they don't find enough vehicles, which feels like, you know, it feels like you're failing at the first aspect of PUBG Mobile. And that feels bad to say because I know they're a good team, but that's like rule number one, right? Just get some vehicles on the drop, go from there.
Look, the way to word it in a friendly manner is they've been very cost efficient on fuel today. They've been using the you know, what's it, the carpool lane.
Yeah. It's not ideal, that's for sure.
It's definitely not.
I mean, we're trying to put olive oil in the tank right now. It's not working. Let's just get...
That's not going to work. That's not dinosaur juice.
Yeah, let's get some more vehicles. Let's get some more dinosaur juice from the ground. Let's pump it up and just get on moving, because 4 vehicles better than 1 vehicle. I don't feel like I need to say that on PMGC, but there you go. But 20 seconds before we get back into our 4th match of the day. Bit odd because, again, with that playing path, no... Calm down.
I do love the idea that they've not communicated this to Liquor at all. So he's just sat there like, why do they keep putting their hands
What's going on? They're all becoming mannequins at this point in time. We don't exist. These are just stand-in dolls for Naomi as well as Frozen.
Right then. Well, let's get our seatbelts snapped in as it's time to go back to Erangel. Last game of the day today for this map. Following this, we get the back-to-back Miramar. So a bit of a change of pace there, a bit of a change of scenery that will be just around the corner. Who's getting that last chicken dinner on Erangel, though? And how's this game going to go? Let's find out. Playing path, a little bit nicer.
Yeah, way nicer actually on this one, because I think whenever you get that playing path that moves down slope right on the edge of the map, you're given so many limited options, especially forcing a lot of teams to drop over towards the Sosnovka military base as well. And if you do want to get towards one of your original drop spots, you sort of have to drop towards that middle third of the playing path, which means that more than likely you're going to run into at least another 10 other teams trying to do the same thing alongside with you. So picking up some of those trash drops, trying to pick up those vehicles, going to get very hairy indeed. So with this playing path, you're going to have a lot more room to drop out when you want to, and kind of spread yourselves across the map. Even though it is far off towards the western side, a lot of teams will be much more pleased on their approach. Nacer dropping over towards Rozhok right now alongside with the Mad Bulls. I don't think they'll be dropping right on top of them potentially, but we'll wait and see. We get another circle very similar to our last one on our angle up towards that northern side of the map.
Okay then. A little bit of water on that boy for now, but it won't matter too much. Early doors, looking at some of the spots though, just seeing if there's going to be any shenanigans here for our last Erangel. We've seen a couple of hot drops sprinkled in for good measure today, but nothing overly audacious here. The only close proximity we really see is on screens now, with Mad Bulls a couple of miles away, especially with the move that's coming in, different trajectories for the rotations. Well, you can't be doing that. If you look directly at the sunblank, it's quite bad for your eyes.
He's got a blue light filter on the red dot, don't worry.
Oh, he's okay.
He's all good.
I was worried there for a second. His retinas would be taking damage, Blank.
Oh, absolutely. Won't be able to see for the rest of the game. Just have like the smallest pinpoint of vision towards the center.
Just really realistic PUBG Mobile. Yeah, I've looked at the sun.
And I can no longer see. It's not good. Can we get a rematch, please? Rehost.
I've been flashbanged by the big orb.
What is big orb in the sky? I do not understand.
Where has this come from?
Who is he? Yeah, it doesn't
be like the
oh my God,
bear in the big blue house, mate.
Yeah.
You know?
We'll have to explain what the sun is. Well, everybody. No, I'm only joking. But we are going to head over towards the northern side for the time being. NBE Sports, I don't think they've done too badly at all. Akaze's kind of been like the main driving force of the team, though, right?
Yeah.
Hitting some really, really good shots recently, but again, some of their rotates feel just a little bit lacking, you know, getting caught on the edge side quite a few times, which doesn't feel great for them as a team, because I do think that when this team is put under pressure, some of their rotations to try and extricate themselves from those positions become a little bit haphazard. I think they've been fortunate on some of these other games where, for instance, they had an opportunity on that last match to escape and they zoomed in over towards Inco and immediately got put down by them. But that could have been a much better fight if it wasn't the fact that Becker just withstood the force of a vehicle going 60 miles per hour. Doesn't make much sense to me. FaZe, though, immediately take a knock. Zifan will move up. Mormon has only got the shotgun, but a great drop shot there will take down Shifan. A little bit of that greed being punished away there in the box compound.
So Mormon with the AK, slays from far away, throws the clip back in, as they will hit the DECK. Gets the res back off as well. Meanwhile, Car Chase City is the name of the game here, it seems. Ooh, contact from the side, though, baited in as they pulled into Quest's domain. And right now, they are ready to rumble. They assault onto the close range players. Ooh, good damage done onto the getaway vehicle as well, as Al Haji is throwing out the bullets. And they're chasing the Quest convoy hard on the tail, Blank, looking to see if they can actually fight this one back and chase him down.
I mean, they desperately need the points, right? And I mean, FSS is moving straight up towards the top side of Everest, trying to escape as quick as he can. Get his level 3 in hiking done here. Fahidan sends towards that top side, just tries to spot for him, but I don't think FFS is going to be in this situation for too long at all. Al-Haji will just be medkitting away, gets himself back up to full HP here. But FaZe, I think they did a pretty decent job to sort of resume operations after taking that initial knock there from Jifan. And it will be N-Hyper who really does suffer the consequences of getting too aggressive in this location, dropping down to just 2 players now.
DX on screens here, getting the looting done. DX been a little bit less uncontested in terms of fighting for common drop spots. They've been willing to actually mold themselves into less common drops or work around some of our other teams. That's something that we are now seeing from them, which was quite uncharacteristic of what they were doing game in, game out, at least back during the regulation part of the group stage with the full group green. So shows at least some smart adjustments for them there. FS did at least get away. He's been able to run down and avoid Quest's onslaught.
Yeah.
But what have you really got left, man? The entire team off the back of that was basically split in half, right? Like, sure, they're still alive, but you're down to just 2 with low HP and not really much to work with in terms of the early loot either. You haven't had a chance to kind of pick anything clean. So rough start for them, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't even think FS even knows where he's going at this point in time. Sends up towards Zaki, of all places. Enigma Galaxy make their way in towards Rozhok. I think this is a bit of a lion's den that you don't really want to get into too early on. Easy gets taken down by FaZe, who pick themselves up yet another point on the match here. Quest tries to come in for a little bit of retribution. Al-Haji spots out, but Onzen's very ready for the same peak again. Doesn't try to go for anything fancy here, and Quest realizes it's probably just a good idea to bail out this one. Gladiators up towards the northern edge of Georgia Pod, still looting. They've got a lot of time ahead of them to make this one happen. A lot of teams did shift themselves over towards the eastern side of the map, so a lot of this western edge is quite free, and a lot of the infighting that has happened between FaZe and Hyper as well as Quest. A lot of these teams haven't made their initial rotates yet. Zerich spots onto Ralph from Enigma Galaxy. You got Freak on the side here, but Zerich is very quick with it, in and out of cover like a shot here.
Trying to hard commit and does pick it up, landing the follow-up shot. Ooh, quick pre-fire as well. So Zerich was paranoid about the peak there, coming around the corner a little bit quicker than he had anticipated for. Does go fast on the chase, but already with the engine purring, they're just trying to get away and avoid just losing most of their stock here in the Mad Bulls territory. So give up the fight on that one. We get a cameo from Reject Tokyo as well. They seem to have done a good job of finding themselves 4 vehicles to work with. So rotates now going to be a bit of an easier piece of the puzzle for them. And they're also heading over towards Rozhok. So you do have a potential here where you're going to have quite a few close grouped squads actually, especially with Nassar pushing further down. They might actually get a bit of a read on this one. So room to breathe. Big split for them as well, actually. Basically running a buddy system of 2 players apiece. On the bridge cam to the left, you can see Rosemary as well, starting to inflict some damage towards FaZe. That's another hot spot. In terms of the heat map there, Gladiators towards the top, just above Quest. Quest that seem to be edging closer towards FaZe after hearing the dinner bell being rung.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of teams that had a lot of these engagements happening earlier, right, Jackie? And they decided that, you know, they're not going to move across the bridges. They're going to get stuck in over towards this ridge side on the western edge. And I think that has made for a very interesting western side of the circle, with a lot of these teams opting just not to push forward. Quest, I think that was a rundown over towards Alter Ego that was found there after they took a couple of pot shots. Lufa looks over towards Tulica, will find the initial shot on the DBS, backing off just slightly, now looking for Zerich, who is holding his own as best as he can here.
Oh, felt like that one was a little bit sloppy to get the final pickup there in the end, but they're still fighting for it, still looking to close things out. Frozen, fragmented from the rest of the squad, peeks out through the smoke. Ooh, look at the nade lineup on that as well. Couple seconds slower on the getaway, and he could have been eating that nade. Would have absolutely ruined him. Luckily, Mad Balls will still hold on with just one man, Frozen, the ice-cold assassin that had to let it go on that one, as he'll back off and tuck into a better angle. Meanwhile, Lord puts some bullets down range as well, just keeping the pressure on. So Rejects in the thick of it now, with players surrounding them from most angles here. Coops does fall back after at least playing his initial card, going to the compound to play off his team.
Yeah, it's actually a really strong spot that Rejects able to pick themselves up there. I mean, it's not an easy one to immediately take control of. Alva looks over towards Quest, will find two of them, immediately sprays both of them down. It will just be the one player left remaining now for Quest in Fahidan. Our Alter Ego desperately needed those points as well, up to 4 now total. And I think for them, currently in 9th place, 36 points. That takes them to 40. So they're not in the worst spot in the world, but it's not great either. Let's put it that way. I think for Nigma Galaxy, on the other hand, still need to get some more points on today, realistically. And Hyper currently at 10 points total, 0 points on the game. There's a couple of these teams from Group Red that really do need to get a move on at this point in time. But this is one of the more infighty lobbies we've seen throughout the entirety of the survival stage. Yesterday was just quite dominant. A lot of smart maneuvers going around. This is very scrappy, I would say, in terms of the fighting that's been going on.
Yeah, that does sum it up pretty accurately. It's been a very, very scrappy affair. Close quarters combat being the aggressive maneuver here from Alter Ego. Kicking the doors, running on in, and finding the pickups with both barrels there. Stereo connection onto Quest. So they're taken down. Gladiators are close by, close enough that maybe their ears are perking up and thinking about the potential, but they might have their heads a bit more screwed on, thinking about the longevity of the game here, rather than trying to get involved with potential dribs and drabs of Elim points. Reject Tokyo still looking like they've got confidence as well. They've got a good setup in terms of the position, but they haven't really cascaded back. They've still been controlling the outer ridge here towards the hillside after not wanting to give it up when Mad Balls pushed in and applied a bit of pressure onto them, trying to keep control of the land they've found. Lord seems to have taken a bullet to the back of the head there, though, so down on his last legs for the meantime. Quick head count of our squads. You can see that a fair few of them have already lost players, so the battle of attrition has been going on in the background. The only actual squad wipe we've seen, though, was Quest.
Yeah, it's been sort of a difficult game for a lot of teams where they've just been taking a couple of fights here and there, trying to escape from it. And you can tell that's kind of the survival stage mentality of a lot of these teams, that you start to lose an engagement. Right, that's it. We'll just leave it alone. Let's get out of here as quickly as possible. And Hyper's initial fight went horribly, horribly wrong, really pear-shaped in that sense. But for Reject, they picked themselves out a very strong spot. And you're right, they're holding on the outside edge. They've realized that the 3-story gives them a lot of strength in terms of being able to spot out teams and take some shots across the way, try to weaken some of these squads, potentially even get a flush. But leaving this position also is a little bit rough for yourself, because you are surrounded by some compounds that can quite easily cut off your disengages. So for Regiosio, probably one of the smarter players, I would say, to leave on the outside edge. Really, really strong individual player in of his own right. Can get away with maybe a quick knock and then a retreat back to the rest of the team. So I like this play from Reject so far. It's looking strong. FaZe, though, do find one of the players in Kitsune there. I think that's a bit of a misstep coming through from the Gladiators. They should have known there might be more teams coming through on this area, and just allowing Mela to immediately pick himself up a quick and cheeky flush on towards them. Their gatekeep gets shut down almost immediately.
Guarding the edge here, though. Meku with the full wide berth on the rotate, trying to get as far back as he can. There is still a play to be made, though, inside of the blue. If you could assist Mela, you could still put pressure on Meku and force him to give up the aggression on this one. He was just looking for a read, and the information play does still stay alive with his hands firmly on the wheel, so he's happy to at least be breathing on this one. Alter Ego are relatively close as well, with even a slight push there, just looking for a read themselves, so assessing what exactly was going on ahead of them. Meanwhile, Melisse looking to try and make their move over the bridge at some point here, with the zone pushing further in and actually setting itself up in a relatively good spot for Evos once again as well. Melisse, though, will have to fight tooth and nail for this, and they go for the brutish approach, sending the vehicle in with Kishu just driving his way through straight away. We'll put a pin in that, though, as there's a fight going on, and FaZe are fragging blank. They found their way through all of the gladiators in seconds there.
Mate, again, this is Mela just absolutely killing it today. And I mean, we saw that on that last game, almost the 2v4 versus Procedure Evos. And Mela once again shows us he can do it just as easily in the mid game as he can in the late game. So really, really heads up play there coming through from Mela. I don't know how that just occurred, but with the DBS, that guy is absolutely kingly, and I think that's going to bring Gladiators back down to earth once again. Maybe one or two more good games for them to see them feeling a little bit safer into the lobby at the end of the day. 59 points, it's pretty decent, and with the amount of teams that are currently sat down towards 18, 17 points total, there's a chance for this team. There's still a chance, but that does not look promising. For FaZe, on the other hand, they've had some pretty cool standouts today. Not always been able to get all their players towards that end game, but, you know, at least some eliminations every single time. They're already up to 30 points on their first day. It's good to see.
It is nice for them. Big game. Even if they go out now, you've still been able to achieve a lot in terms of the elims and the other chicken dinners they've taken. More to be done for FaZe as well, of course, as you know, this isn't the end of their run. They'll still have tomorrow to come back out swinging up against Group Yellow and see what they can do there. Fight continues on now, though, with Frozen being really close in terms of the positioning. You were thinking maybe there was chance for the fight there. We'll join that again, though, once things kick off. For now, you've got the rotate on screens, and Melisse still trying to make their move. Trapped under the bridge here, as CEO later wants them to pay the toll. He is trying to defend this, it seems. DBS in hands, close quarters engagement up against the SMG, just peppered instantly, overwhelmed there, and crumbles because of it. So the remaining members of Melisse are expired, and Inco could potentially third party from there. Had a read on the hill, but don't aggress down.
Yeah, for Inco, it's a little bit of a difficult scenario for them, but they're able to hold on to it. Not bad at all. DXAV continue on. I think this has been one of the more consistent teams from our lobby so far. Inco moving over towards NASA, over towards Spec at the moment. A little bit of a difficult position to be playing in. Doesn't really have the support of his teammates, but a nice first initial spray down. Everyone's just trying to get the DBSs on the roof, but he doesn't care. The Vector will do the trick.
Oh, he cuts his way through the first. Looking to re-aggress here as well. Bullets going down, detonations inside of the building. Xenox looking for the wide swing, close up through the window, spots another Inco man, but he's been punished from the side himself. Down on the floor now. Spec as well, eats the nade. Perfect bounce on that. Beautiful use of the angle as it ricochets off of the wall and takes the man down. Both of them playing medic, looking to get the reses in and reset on the fight. Doors wide open, head taken clean off as Squash, he goes out of the situation. Star comes sprinting in, and this fight keeps on going.
Mate, there's no point did it occur to Spec to just use the first aid kit in his inventory at all. Like, what was he doing jumping down with 10 HP? Didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And with that, Nenabetse might be able to finish up a lot of these players coming through from NASA. A total misplay, in my opinion, from what was an incredible opening fight there from Spec himself. Nenabetse is able to clutch this out. It's basically all down to the fact that you just don't use the utility that's on side. There was more than enough time and chance to use it. Just the aggression there was a little bit silly, in my opinion. Reject still pushing onwards, currently up to 34 points, 37 if you add the eliminations on. And I think, you know what, they've had a decent day today. They've been really trying to hit those numbers where they can. They understand that time is wearing thin for them too.
And the gap between DX is closing as well. Similar sort of story for Rejects, it seems, as they go for the swoop in and look to command respect here in the compound clash. Sarah, the bicep man, hits the first as Link goes down. Lufa again aggresses onto Misery, and one by one, Evos are becoming extinct as they are falling out of the server quite quickly. Luxy, though, wants to try and save face. Nade's thrown in. Nice tag on the first. Has the DBS as well. He could clean out the building here, Blank, if he can find his way in. Nice nade to at least defend. Smoke canisters go up as well. Blocks the pathing and the eye line, but could be exposed to Coops and Co from the back. So Rejects have taken command of the gas station for now.
That was definitely a deluxe grenade if I've ever seen one. Nade over the top from Regiosio. Bounces, actually just airburst a bit too early there for him. Looks to send another one over the top. Has a general idea of where he is. Great nade from Regiosio. Will finish it off, and Pazija Evos goes down. Now remember, this is the position where Pazija Evos won the game from last match. And I think for Reject, they understand that. They're like, look, we'll take it off your hands, no problem. Quick push in, picks up a lot of eliminations off the back of some really nice shots with the DBS. And that's confidence we wanted to see from Reject a lot earlier on. For Udo Alliance, it's starting to get a bit better for them each and every single game. You know, their averages aren't looking too bad at all. Currently 5 points per game. Yes, it's not championship level of averages, but for some other teams who really have not done that at all, I would say this is a promising start for Udo Alliance.
They've not been looking too bad in some of the fights they've been able to find themselves in today. We've seen some smart decision making, even at least keeping games going when they're low in terms of stock, low in terms of manpower. So Udo Alliance, pretty good job of at least being a thorn in the side of some other teams. What can they get done here, though? In potentially a position where, you know, there is a chance you could chalk this one up as a W, as a chicken dinner, if you play your cards correctly. Frozen, still just trying to keep his attention drawn in the direction of Reject Tokyo. Rejects that are now getting themselves situated inside of the vehicles, driving seats at the ready, and start to set their focus on the new zone. Everyone's going to want to move their way further forward now. Udo Alliance with a good spread of it as well. They'll have nice control to work off of. Meanwhile, MBE, Sec on the snipe with a Mini 14, firing off the warning shots, makes his presence known, but no actual connection. And he has given an inkling across the Udo as well of his position now.
Yeah, Cluck here off in the distance. Your Udo Alliance currently at those 5 eliminations found so far on this map. Could you go even a little bit further? You're talking about before Sec on that Mini 14, hitting some nice shots. Nedabete in the meantime takes his chances on the rotate while everyone is a little bit distracted. Will be able to get himself to fairly defensible position as well over on this side. MBE Sports off in the distance, very, very close to him. Udo Alliance is trying to take him down, but it is Olio to spot that one out. Once again, we see Udo Alliance in this situation where they potentially can take the chicken dinner on this game. They came second on that last match so far. Some very nice little averages on our angle. Reject will send in over towards Coops, last player remaining. Good initial grenade, but just overwhelming force here from Reject.
They just swoop in like an aggressive seagull at the boardwalk, just wanting to steal away their set of chips. And they take that one down instantly. Udo Alliance, they've got a good spread for it, good setup in terms of the positioning to maybe get a few shots off here on Reject Tokyo. And they're the ones that want a gun for the longevity on this. Both squads with 4 players alive. For Mapples, it is just Frozen. And keep in mind, Frozen's team, they were picked off by Rejects quite some time ago. He was hoping to get revenge, but he'll find nothing for his troubles as you do connect onto him and they dispatch the ball. Seeing red now as we fall to our final 3 squads. Hey, look at the damage being inflicted here as well, Blank. Softening them up now. Confidence is there. This could be where they start to rev their engines for the dive.
Yeah, looking to move in towards it. And I like this spread coming through from Udo Alliance. So aggressive. The distance, though, Sarah is able to pick up one from MBE Sports. They have to immediately get on that res there if they want to get something done off the back of it. They might just send in over towards MBE Sports as well, claim a little bit more space. Cluck also getting involved, realizing that MBE Sports looks a little bit weakened off the back of that one. Olio with this position on top of the rooftops is so unbelievably strong, though, Jackie, gives them so much advantage coming into the future. Reject were able to get a little bit further around, but more and more shots keep pouring over their way. MBE Sports with Mondo up front with one nade left remaining, but fully kitted out here with the MG3.
Quick looting, quick reset, shuffling. Everyone waiting for the right strike, the right moment to stick themselves into the action. The aggression works well for the first connection. Bullets downrange onto MBE, at least quelling their numbers for now, forcing one of the players into a knock and leaving them with a decision to make. No real quick move to get Modo back up, so you're probably going to have to give up the goose on him, fragmenting their numbers even more. And this setup from Yudu is still looking so powerful. Every time there's a peak, they have the geometry to defend themselves whilst dealing damage. They've got set up so if there is contact, someone else can help out as well. They could play for trades pretty efficiently from this, and all they've got to do is hold. Everyone else sitting on the edge of the rim as well, not wanting to push in yet. The zone will be the only part that could potentially throw a spanner in the works for them. But with how they're playing it at the minute blank, this is looking great for Alliance.
Yeah, pretty much this was one of the circles that Reject likely was hoping for as well, because Olio on this spot had to be pushed out of it before stage 8. Realistically, this is a very early way to end a game in stage 7, having 3 teams at stage 6. Almost unheard of. This game was extremely quick in terms of play. For Reject, though, they know they need to get further into the circle. They need to regroup Regiosio as well as Sara, but this circle does assist them. Getting Olio off from that rooftop gives them a much more even chance here, much more even footing. The fact that he's able to take pot shots downwards provides so much information all the time towards the rest of his teammates is causing so much problems. He's finally off it now, and Reject might be starting to think about when they want to move off towards the rest of their squad.
Lufa hearing the sniper shots whizzing by him. Ooh, it looked like his days were numbered, but the team defends as they assist their mate. A few pot shots back over. That's Reginosio, who's just taking the peek from behind the tree, hoping that he can, if not deal damage, at least start to dent the confidence. So Yudu Alliance can't peek into this so easily. They've still got such a good setup though, and this could be absolutely fantastic. They thought they had the lineup with a nade. No real response to it though. Not actually turning onto this one. They just leave themselves laying there in the open. Can't really retaliate too easily, and they're just being farmed blank. The nades go in again for the easy cleanup, and they're taken out of commission. Wiped off the face of the battleground there, leaving it into the final fight then.
Yeah, 3v4 now. And I think for Yudu Alliance, honestly, when you're in that situation and you are MBE Sports, you just have to hope that he only has 2 grenades and you can withstand 2. Unfortunately for them, Olio had been sent forward with a blinding 7 in the back pocket. The circle moves over towards the north side, and Reject's going to have to play a very, very tough game. They've got no more smokes remaining either, so getting up will require them to get at least a knock. Lufa's not able to make it happen. Now just 2 players left alive versus Yudu's 4, and they're going to send in on the approach. Is this going to be their downfall, or will this be where they win? Olio continues to send in some massive nades. He's been so important this entire game. The nade goes off, Reject will go out, and Yudu Alliance, despite only getting the second that last game, Olio not going in for the 1v1 definitely makes up for things here on this Arangle.
You do take those wins, blank, as they're pulling off another one. Coming out swinging here. You're going to be happy with that. You're going to be in a position now where things are looking a lot better already. They were a team that today looked like they were kind of nipping at heels and at least keeping themselves in a good position. Now it actually seems comparable to think, you know, if they could maintain this blank for their day 2 tomorrow as well, alongside potentially the next 2 games we have coming up, then Alliance are actually in a much better position than it felt like potentially they were going to be coming into this. They're looking good in the survival stage right now, taking to it quite comfortably.
Yeah, it's a really nice jump up from them as well off the back of that game. I mean, Olio, again, 1,088 damage done, only 84 damage received. I think their sep on that was very nice as well. Or towards that northern side, they had, I think it was Iftar or maybe Flax, who was up close, just holding out MB Esports that entire time. I think they had really good control over both Reject and MB Esports, not allowing either of those teams any breathing room whatsoever. And that came with an aggressive hold, right? You know, they had to have the big split going there in the end game. But yeah, really impressive from Udo Alliance. And I think Olio will be certainly pleased, because sort of gave himself up a chicken dinner last game, even though he didn't know it. This time around, definitely secures that chicken dinner. In the meantime, secure your seatbelts, because we're heading back over to the desk.
All right, seatbelts are secured here. I don't know what sound that was, but we are back with Udo Alliance. Getting themselves a big victory, honestly, and a pretty needed victory. We have to keep in mind that during this entire day, this is technically the easiest group for Group Red to go up against, considering the point discrepancy we heard from Max at the start of the day between yellow and green. So they need to collect every single point they possibly can, and Olio this time kind of redeeming himself, as we heard the caster say from our prior match, Max.
Yeah, really happy with Udo Alliance getting himself that split. Of course, the circle not ending towards that kind of gas station location, so forcing teams like Reject to leave it. And when you have that 4-man split, pretty much, Jason, there's not much you can really do, and you're just very predictable behind that pylon. You just, the moment you try and peek your head around the corner, you're going to get completely wrecked. So 24 points on this one for Udo Alliance. Great match, and also play with over 1,000 damage, Kalaris. That's really cool.
Yeah, wow. There you go. That's the sound for that one.
Thank you.
Even though we've not really properly seen it. Yeah, they were laughing together after that victory, because they were like, we've seen this circle before. And we got to adapt from the previous game whilst doing it. I mean, they were holding strong up in the north, right? Like, they controlled so much room with this to be able to then head south that I think they actually really did, no joke, take learnings from the previous game and apply them here.
I mean, they dropped Northern Stolber, right? No one is going to be on this game, in this lobby, stopping that kind of rotation. No one is in between their drop location and the spot where their game ends, so it's not going to be happening in 1,000 years. And yeah, Olio, sure, he was able to confirm that game earlier on match number 3, but here he's able to just survive with his team and get things done. So happy about that one, though. If I want to take the conversation another way, Kalaris, is Reject knew how strong this time around the Procedure Evo's gas station actually was. Like, how about we crash it just like 5 minutes earlier in this match and maybe win the game? Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, and they hit it with severity as well, right? Like, they absolutely barreled into that position and really gave Procedure no time to be able to react to said attack here. So for Reject, I love the decisive nature of that. I love just the very, very small window you're giving your opponents to be able to react to an assault oncoming here from the Japanese team.
Real quick, as we see in 21st place Quest, they have only 2 matches left to go before they're done in the entire survival stage. If they want to have any sort of chance, they have to come up big in these last 2 games. Otherwise, that's going to be one of our teams confirmed going to be out. But Enigma Galaxy, man, Max, 24th place. They have not been able to get anything going so far.
I think that Jackie and Blank were talking about it also during the games, and I did come up to that like kind of conclusion myself also, is that they're just struggling to get cars, and because of that, you're very vulnerable to teams that are going to be on your path to the circle, and that's just been happening so many times for Enigma Galaxy, losing Coops, losing Lord, losing Freak, and then you just don't have the players to really compete for that possible win. So yeah, they got to get more cars. Really, it's as easy as that right now. I know I'm making it seem very easy, but if they get 2, 3 cars, 4 cars if possible, you're instantly taking way smaller risks while you're trying to get to a good POI in these circles.
I do want to give a special shout out to 2 different players that we haven't really touched on just yet. Spec from Nasser, coming in massive on top of that building when we saw Inko crash on top of him. Somehow with the Vector, he was able to just hold on. But then Nenebechi on the other side, able to close things out and save his team. Well, save himself at least, and get the wipe onto Nasser. That was just a really cool little battle between those 2 individual players.
Yeah, some good knocks from Nenebechi to kind of finish things off. And again, cooking grenades to be able to just throw them at the exact right time to really cause a lot of problems for his opponents here as he's trying.
Nenebechi was doing something that was very interesting, is he was faking nades also during this entire match. He was just like taking the pin out and actually just doing the audio cue, and that was kind of scaring the opposite side to go for the res, and because of that he was able to just make them linger as a solo and then win the fight. So it's very small details like that, but Nenebechi as an individual, we also saw it last year in PMGC, right, has the chops to be one of the best players in this lobby, I'd say.
Yeah, and it's great to see him as well come back into his own when we first saw him come into the scene back in B4 over like 2-3 years ago when I was actually working on it a little bit more consistently. But guys, we are going to be heading to a short break shortly, but before then, I'm going to remind you guys once again about the Infinix GT10 Pro. You guys can pick this up. It's born for professional esports players, and you guys can dominate the lobby while doing so. Not to mention, you can play in the new Frost Festival now out in PUBG Mobile. You guys can get into this frosty adventure, pick it up and play, and potentially create some snowmen yourself. We also do have the Popularity Annual Gala kicking off between the November 15th over till December 15th, where you guys can play in 10 1v1 matches, potentially get some exclusive rewards that you can show off for yourself. And while you're showing those off, you can show off your new Pagani as well with the Zonda R model coming to us and the Amola. You guys can run over your enemies, and hopefully, for Nimba Galaxy's sake, they can pick some of these up and survive and stay alive and get into the later stages where they can potentially use their victory dance and show off that they are their own favorite team in PMGC. We're going to head to a short break while we get things ready to go for our first of 2 matches on Miramar, and we'll see you all in just a short few.
And we are moving into Miramar, 2 of them back to back to be precise, to finish off the second day of the survival stage. Blank, it has been a bit of a journey we've already been on, mate. The Eren girls, the initial Sandhawk as well, all of them have had a bit of a different flavour. I wonder what's going to be sort of, you know, the taste left in our mouths after these Miramar games.
Yeah, well, I mean, man, I don't know. It might be a sour taste, might be a bitter taste for some of these teams, might be a very sweet and delicious taste for some of these teams towards that top side, feeling very comfortable, feeling very safe. For Udo Alliance, that is a really comfortable game on that last one. I think that Max and Clive mentioned it. That, look, it was just the same circle from before, and they have a very easy and very nice little crossing down towards that position. And they essentially just played it how they would have wanted to play it that last time around. So really, really well done to both of them. And I think for, honestly, Reject, they'll be happy with a 3rd place on that one, a 2nd place on that one, get some good points on the board overall, which they desperately needed, right? And I think that consistently today, Reject's been doing pretty well. And I think tomorrow we'll see some of those teams from Group Red try and hit some higher numbers as well on that chase. Again, today we will be setting that benchmark, at least for some of those teams with Group Green leaving us. And I think that's the most important thing for a lot of these squads to be taking a look at the end of the day, is where that 16th place lies. Currently, it is with Malise Esports at 25 points.
Okay, then. What are things going to be looking like in terms of the points after this first Miramar? What drastic changes are we going to be seeing? All big questions that will have a large influence on the overall standings, but we'll find out as we kick it off. The plane has taken off and we're flying over Miramar. If you take a look out of your left window, you'll see water treatment. If you take a look out of your right window, you'll see power grid. Please keep your arms and legs inside of the plane at all time. Now I'll pass you over to your captain, Blank.
It is me, and also disregard that last comment about keeping your legs and arms in the plane at all times. At some point, we are going to be tossing you out because you're going to have to get into this match, gain yourself a couple of these points at the moment, because this is not a safe run from us. It's going to be quick, dirty, and it's going to be fierce going into this Miramar. This is our first of 2 before Group Green will end their run here in the survival stage and see just how many points that they have been able to put up and get in. Currently, Quest is one of the teams very much in danger at this point in time. Currently played 10 matches with a measly 17 points, currently in 21st place. It is going to take a gargantuan effort from them in these last 2 matches, and quite honestly, I just don't think it's possible, and this might be one of our first teams to be confirmed gone over in that bottom 8 of the lobby for the survival stage. They will not be making it through to last chance unless something absolutely insane can happen here on these last 2 Miramars, which I just don't think is going to happen.
No, it would have to be miraculous. Not quite sure if it'll be going that way. We did have Maxman coming in with the hot drop breakdown as well. He gave us a quick lay of the land of the potential positions and clashes that we could be seeing. DX versus MBEs was one of them in El Pozo, and then the other potential that doesn't seem like it's happened was FaZe versus Evos as well. Max had been taking a look over the VODs. So he had basically came to the description blank that we might be seeing those as the common drop spots. At least this time, it seems like some of the teams have got their heads screwed on and haven't wanted to run the risk of a hot drop this late into the day of competition, especially with some of them actually having a good day of it as well. Like for Evos, right? Running the risk of that, not going to be ideal. Not the best playing path for it either as well. So that's why we've avoided that one. But honestly, probably for the best, mate. These hot drops are getting a little bit too warm, blank. It's like being in a sauna, but you don't really want to be in there. You thought it was an ice room.
Yeah, it's currently 1 a.m. The janitor locked the door. You're stuck in there. They've turned off the lights. It's a horrible experience overall. You're sweating. You're not sure what's going to happen. You're just going to have to wait it out and move out of the old sauna in the morning looking a little bit mummified. But in the meantime, we'll keep you guys nice and cozy at least. And we'll be there with the keys in the morning around about 7 a.m. because I don't wake up too early. But looking at this plane, obviously it wasn't too great for either of those hot drops on this side of things. Difficult to get down towards Chumacera anyway, so a lot of teams had to go for something just a little bit different. On the cards here, we do have MBE Sports up towards El Pozo. In the meantime, Gladiators playing towards their preferred drop spot in La Cobreria. They have been trying to switch things up just a little bit recently, moving further down towards his south side outside Hacienda del Patron. Certainly have done their homework though. Not really a possibility here versus Nassar, who are over towards water treatment in the first place. So that would cause them to be running into another team fairly early on. And I think for Gladiators, who haven't put up any points since that second game, sorry, currently on 59. I think they'd want to push this just a little bit higher in these final 2 matches. I think 80 points is a pretty happy finishing point for any team within this lobby, currently with Mad Bulls at 89 points total. Also, not the most amazing day for them, but they have put up some good points, right? I think yesterday just sort of overshadows the consistency that we're seeing today from them.
It's been an interesting day for it as well, man, because I think it's made it so hard to really, truly assess the situation. I don't even know by the end of today, Blank, if we'll have the best lay of the land of how things are going to look by the end of survival stage, because any sort of the theory we came into it with initially with, you know, kind of the idea of Group Green being the real big group of death that it was, that had so many top teams in it, translating into survival stage, felt like it kind of wasn't an accurate depiction of day one. Then now we're seeing some of them bubbling up towards the top. We're seeing a good test of some of the other teams now in the lobby for today as well. I think really by the end of tomorrow, you know, as silly as it is to say, is when we're actually going to truly understand just how tight this was, because it's been hard to call the whole way through. We've seen the standings definitely getting shaken the longer it has gone on. It's been a lot of impressive maneuvers from Brazil as a region as well throughout the course of the entirety of the tournament. Here at the minute, Inco, being the sole representative of Brazil inside of this lobby, haven't had the best day of it. Of course, they had to fight tooth and nail. Similar story to Quest, to barely make it here in the first place. I think the more surprising one as well is, you know, as we go deeper down towards the bottom, I'm kind of expecting a bit more from maybe your Duxan fans, maybe Amiga Galaxies as well, that just feel like there could have been a little bit more to be done. We've got one of them fighting here though, as they are going aggro, broken wall combat as they look to try and swoop on in. Bullets from behind the camper van, can't quite close the gap. Switch to the secondary. That one will kneecap, fights through the body as well, backed up by his teammates, and the pressure is on now.
Yeah, FS taking a huge amount of damage there on Hyper, and Duxan, like he said, yeah, really aren't giving up anything whatsoever. They're looking for more. FS will go down, and again, Zifan just has to send away as fast as possible. Hyper's really not been having a good tournament here at all in the survival stage, really struggling on every single drop at the start of the game. First couple of minutes just looking hellish for them. Zifan almost spinning out there on the vehicle as Vinny continues to pepper those shots across, gets a nice headshot, and Hoxie will finish off with one of his own. That's Hyper out with some beautiful gun skill coming through from Hoxie at the end there, and Duxan picks themselves up a juicy 4 points. Again, you were right, Duxan needs to do a little bit more at the bottom of the tables. That's a great start from them here on Miramar, and see them a little bit safer coming into the survival stage. Alter Ego, look, we didn't want to talk about the start today, but you know what? 41 points. It's not too bad, honestly. It's not too bad. They have certainly struggled, but they're struggling against the tide here, trying to get back to the safety of the beaches so they can sit up in those armchairs and just wait for this one comfortably to end without worrying about maybe being pushed out from that top 16. Obviously, only 2 more games to go, though, for Alter Ego. These are some really important matches for them as well, because by no means is 41 points safe at all.
Feels like nothing's a safe threshold anymore, man. It doesn't matter how much of a buffer you've got, Blank. I'd still be a bit scared. You never want to leave it up to someone else, right? So just trying to keep that consistent growth of points always going. Such a hard task, but something that needs to be done relatively consistently, game in, game out right now. You can see already with the posturing, a lot of these teams earlier on today, even yesterday, especially when there kind of wasn't a level playing field, there wasn't a point where you could see one team pulling ahead. They probably would have gone for a few more of these fights. At the minute, it's a bit more sheepish. Teams sort of fighting to warn off other squads. A lot of defensive gameplay at the minute, kind of turtling, trying to gain control of your lay of the land and force other teams to feel uncomfortable, rather than swooping in, kind of playing that very aggressive, guerrilla strong together mentality of just trying to overwhelm opposition by roaming as a pack, which was working earlier today. On Miramar, in this sort of situation, might not be the best call. One wrong fight could be the difference of you basically leaving yourself with no chances to get points today. For Group Green, that would mean no chances remaining over the course of the survival stage as well. So big pressure, big momentum shift needs to happen. Zone shift, though, is going to cause a bit of a cascade. Everyone wanted to get themselves into the center circle as quick as possible, but look at Mad Balls miles away, taking a slow turn on things, wanting to just take their time with a rotate on this.
Yeah, slowing it down massively, and that's fair enough for the Mad Balls. I think they want to just confirm some more consistent placements here in these final couple of games. They know that they've done a lot already in the lobby to see themselves pretty safe here. Like you said, it's very hard to say what is safe, honestly, at this point in time, because there could be a massive jump up from all 16 teams tomorrow in both Group Yellow and Group Red, but we'll see what happens. For Mad Balls, I would say that they've done really, really well for both their region as well as themselves, getting themselves fairly decently confirmed towards that last chance. There is still more to be done in those 2 days following, but at least they get a break in between. For some of these other squads at the moment, there is some serious pressure on them. But Miramar, obviously one of those matches where you really want to keep all 4 players alive towards that end game, and a lot of teams are looking to pick up some central positions early on. Reject still following that same mentality of picking up that central spot at the beginning of the game. They've done a great job to do it down towards his south side already. This will see them in a good position to pick up some more of those points. Yes, they're not picking up those big chicken dinners, but they are very much definitely in that top 3 a lot of the time now. So, I think they are another team that just felt the pressure from yesterday, weren't able to play comfortably, a little bit fidgety in their seats, but this time they are definitely playing much more how we saw in that Group Green, where they look like a formidable team, let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely a facelift that I think both of us are pretty happy to witness here, looking a lot more like themselves. Interesting game so far. Few skirmishes, few fights just to get the backs up of other opponents. A lot of control of the map here being fought for. Peppered bullets being thrown in the direction of Gladiators now, though, as Tixie and co start to scout out, fan themselves around and look for the information on the rotate with the vehicles. Levi's really hoping for a heavy hit on this. He's got the bullets for it. Man's got 200 rounds in the back pocket, so he's willing to just fire off a few warning shots and keep looking for damage. Here's the overall lay of the land, though, the way things are looking with the map. It's Alter Ego that are barely coming up towards the entry point here as well. That would be Udo Alliance that have to fight through if they head into the zone. And they've got, again, another nice spread. Udo Alliance, I have enjoyed the way they've been playing, Blank, in terms of relying on each other as duos. Feels like they have a lot of faith in their setups where they'll play off each other's contacts. And they're probably going to be tested by Melise as well with this. So this actually might be an opportunity to see if their combat skill is looking as drilled as it has been over the course of the day.
Yeah, for Udo Alliance, I think they've had some really, really strong like edge play style where they'll play off one another, and I think that they're cautious enough to actually go for that play style as well, where they won't push out the boat too far a lot of times, which is something that's very rare to see in these edge style teams. I think sometimes it's all or nothing for some of these squads, but these esports certainly have been plagued by that curse a few times so far already. But it's been pleasing to see Udo Alliance being able to really show a masterclass of how to do this one in the survival stage. For some of these teams towards that northern side, moving through Monte Nuevo, a little bit open area down towards Chumacera at the moment. Also a bit of a horrid position to play. I think Nigma Galaxy quite happy over towards the north side of Chumacera right now with relative safety, being able to have a good outlook over towards some of these players that are down towards the northern edge on the low ground at the moment. Reject still just holding on to this central position though, and I think for them, again, it's just nice to see them play much more like usual. FaZe, I want to see another big game out of this team, actually. They're quite central as well, currently challenging Reject out for their spot, and I think Mela's really proven his worth on this squad, but I don't want to see as much scrappy, like we're going to get 7 eliminations on this match and go down in 7th place. I'd like to see a much higher placing with a much more confident finish here.
Visualize that roadmap, that end goal early, have a good understanding of the way you want to play it, the way you want it to finish before you get there. Frozen throwing out bullets here down range. You've got great high ground, great understanding of where everyone is. Oh, Frozen, he's been drawn into a fair few fights today that he's looked so confident in. And seeing Frozen playing with confidence is really fun to watch because you know he's a bit of a one-man army. You know that he can take these fights and single-handedly win them pretty confidently when he is playing his best. And the fact that he's instigating a lot of these, looking to just try and pick up elims where possible off the skin of his own back, and his team's giving him the extra range to do so, bodes well. Makes me think they're all feeling pretty confident individually. That might have been an air of overconfidence though. Gladiators on a scouting mission have been skewered. Duxan have engaged onto them, found the first knock. Matic has to get haphazard with the automatic because he sprays back some bullets. Yeah, tag sure, but not actually finding any frags out of it. Driving and healing, that's illegal, but he will pull it off and get himself back in the zone. So Hoxie being able to maintain good movement here as well and get ahead of Gladiators. This has worked out pretty well from on the rotate unless they get mowed down. Meku on the hillside, Blank. They thought their bad days were over. They thought it was safe to go back into the water, but Meku is there.
Yeah, Meku's been having some really good off angles this tournament so far, and being able to pick up some of these eliminations despite losing one player will be really, really nice for the points totals. They desperately need them on board at this point in time, so I think Meku will be fairly happy with this one. Finish off a couple more as well. Hoxie and Zipian go down, so 3 eliminations for their troubles losing Tixie. It's decent, but you can see DXavier off in the distance there, down towards their south side. They'll be continuing to cause them problems in towards the future, and it's Alter Ego take the fight to Mad Bulls, who just have had a bit of a struggle so far.
How far is this struggle going to go, though? Will this be struggle street for them? Or is it just the struggle bus that potentially they can hop off at the next stop? They do go for the getaway mission. Seems like retreat is better right now. So they try and back away. Oh, look at this. Matic getting an understanding of where exactly Quest is situated. Quest in a vehicle graveyard at the minute. Just smoke and burn tires all around them. And now they're getting smoked a bit more literally as Levi's lurking on the hillside hits them with a big surprise. Kante's gone down. This is not looking good for Quest. They jump in the minivan, trying to go full Scooby-Doo and get out of there, see if they can find some clues about where they can stay alive, Blank. But their days are numbered, surely.
Yeah, I think for Quest, they bit off a little bit more than they could chew in that situation. They took shots over towards Gladiators as well. They were able to finish off one of them at least, but it's opened them now up to this fire coming through from DX also. And looking at the lay of the land where they have to move uphill here, it's going to be really tough to deal with. Mad Bulls managed to get away with that one. Yes, they took a fair bit of damage. 2 players still left alive though down towards the south side of the map, but it's Reject once again able to pick themselves a nice central spot towards this circle, flanked by FaZe on the side, but definitely a good chance in this game. But it's nice to see Alter Ego as well actually taking it to task with currently the top squad in the lobby, which is Mad Bulls.
Definitely seeing a shift in the power rankings here in terms of the way the teams are looking. Definitely feeling like there's a lot more confidence to fight, bringing down some of the walls that were put up on the back-to-back Erangels. Different stories here. Miramar always delivers something a little bit different. Grenade-based combat seems to be the play here. It's like a game of badminton, as those nades will go flying. Lamborghini wants to make this one look like a shuttlecock, sends it out as it will whiz on by and be miles off target. Wind must have caught that one.
Yeah, I mean, you always got to blame the wind at the end of the day in that situation. Junie, though, can't really escape the bullets that come whizzing at him. I mean, those have got a pretty direct trajectory on those bad boys. Quest attempts to try and get involved to maybe open themselves up a little bit of an avenue of approach versus DX whilst they were slightly distracted by the final player coming through from Ducksam. More shots coming through from Nigma Galaxy, though. Over towards Alter Ego, off in the distance. Currently taking a 2-2 split, also holding out MBE Sports as well as Nigma Galaxy. But I imagine at this point in time, Otka as well as Rosemary want to regroup with Fnatic and Alva over on this western side. If they can get out of there, that is.
And they even stay alive and keep themselves in a position to fight. Inko here, ooh, hefty connection with the nades. I mean, you're still standing, you're still alive, and in the fight, barely has Squash. He must have taken a ton of damage from the shrapnel on that. Melisto, so heavily focused on the team in front of them, don't realize they're being backstabbed as you do Alliance come in, swing the scythe, and take Melise out of the equation. Quick heal in the vehicle, quick reset, and then set their focus on getting out of here. They don't like the chances of the engagement versus Inko. They're happy with the points that they stole from that one, and instead focus on calming it down, going off to a better position and playing the longevity on this one. Love to see that from the Udo Alliance. Actually really starting to play some great PUBG Mobile over the course of the day, Blank. It's felt like the longer we've seen them going, the more they've looked confident, the more they've warmed up into the day, and it really feels like they're hitting a bit of a stride now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great read from Udo Alliance as well, because they sense that that fight is very, very clean. Yeah, they were able to pick up the eliminations off the back of it and steal some away, but they know that Inko is fully ready and up for a fight. So they decide, you know what, let's not even take it. We have a strong position down towards this southeast side, which we can continue to manage. So we'll just leave this alone. We'll pick up those steals and play off the back of this one. Iftar comes up against Nigma Galaxy. There is a switch out from the side, and he has to be quick on the trigger here to try and take him down. Does a huge amount of damage, but takes a lot himself.
Damage dealer. Ooh, not ideal on the getaway, though. Last minute connection sweeps the legs out from underneath him as he'll tumble down the hillside. AE versus DX as well as Alter Ego thrown into a fight they probably don't want to be involved in. Inko might have got away from the jaws of defeat previously, but they've run into the big beasts of Evos, armed with some rather large guns as well. And they're closing in. Ooh, a late reaction, but a reaction that will be reverberated through Inko nonetheless, as they get shocked by the LMG, drop down to their last legs, only one man surviving, but the vital signs are good for him. He's at least being able to inflict some damage back onto Evos, and he might have bought just enough time to close the gap. It's a large rotate for him, low on HP as well, has to play the numbers game, stops for the heal. Spec is there, armed with a nade. Everyone's on top of one of another now, Blank, so any moves you make, any chance you reveal yourself, it's about 3 different squads that could engage off of the contact.
Yeah, it's really grim terrain at this point in time where you're just pushing through team after team and the line of sights just aren't there, so you're almost always going to be running into a different squad that you might not have scouted out earlier, which is why the UDO Alliance are just trying to take control of this valley as much as possible, where they have a lot of the info to themselves to play off the back of. Procedure Evos likely to go down shortly. Misery just able to back off away from that grenade as it explodes up in his face. Luxie drops behind, but it's a tall task ahead of them to deal with the remaining members here from UDO Alliance.
UDO Alliance, well, we do damage is what they're saying as they're pulling no punches. The shotgun cleaves its way through them as the first shots will land dead on target. Misery, he's got a big old gun and he's been slick with it so far. 60 bullets remaining in the magazine, only needs 5 to deal with the first man. Nade over the back, tries to reposition, but too little too late as his compound gets detonated and he's down and out. Star wants to ascend to the heavens on this one though. Nade in through the window. That's a Molotov burning off the angle and making it far harder for UDO to control this compound. He's got the smoke in as well, but it's actually just opened the back door for Spec. He's found the engagement, got a few pots chopped off, and kind of fragmented this setup now from UDO. If Star keeps aggressing on this, Blank, there's room for the actual elims to go his way. He could definitely third party on this cleanly right now.
Yeah, it's a potential chance for them as well. FaZe are also looking down this way in the meantime, see if they can get a quick sniff of this one, but it is Star and Spec looking to finish out this fight, and I love the fact they went into this with the 2 players. Cluck is there though on the side with the shoddy, and now just 1 player remains in Spec, who has a lot to account for here.
Spec, what can he do, man? How far can he take this? He's all around them. They're starting to look down the hill, and finally they will spot the head as Flax will slay him. And they are out of the runnings. Losing an awful lot of our teams now as we're whittling our way through them quite quickly down towards stage 6. Not too many left, and a smaller circle to contain everyone as well. So more fights in a more frequent manner going to start developing here on this one. Reject Tokyo set up inside of a compound though, sitting pretty at least. Haven't really had to fight too many big battles inside of this one. They have 3 eliminations to their name so far, and they're just waiting for a battle to come to them. The current clash though is focused on Quest. I say Quest, it was just easy, and now he's gone.
Yeah, I think for Quest now we can pretty much say that they're done and dusted. It's not likely they'll be getting into this last chance. So I think that was our last bit of due to that team. I think they've done very well to get here, but that's probably good night to them at this point in time. Enigma Galaxy trying to get further into this match have had a bit of a struggle day over the last 5 matches, but this one looks a little bit better with 4 players still left alive, you know, 4 eliminations as well. This is a good start, at least something. And this is probably one of the most even and scary lobbies to finish a game off. We've got 3 teams, 4 teams. How many teams are 5 teams with 4 players left alive? It is going to be all-out warfare as we move into stage 7. This is going to really tighten up, and teams will be forced to fight one another. FaZe has got a really, really big task ahead of them as well, because it's going to be a lot of different teams that they're currently having to manage. Everyone understands how strong this high ground currently is, and FaZe doesn't want to give it up. I think they would have hoped that more teams would have gone down at this point in time. But again, this was a match where they had a nice central position. It's one where I wanted to see more of their players make it to the end game and get a big chunky win off the back of it, but by no means is this an easy test at all. We've brought out the hard papers for this one.
Big point score, but an awful lot of risk taking is what's going to be coming up in the next couple moments then. No easy ones, no freebies this late in the survival stage. It only gets harder. There's only more pressure on you. And we'll see how well our teams can deal with that as well, because that's the human element of it. PUBG Mobile here in such a big tournament, the most prestigious of the year with PMGC, you really start to feel the reverberations in every play you make. A single mistake is the difference between your legacy and PUBG Mobile. So what have they got for us? Edging further forward. Lufa on the flank towards the backside. Closing in on FaZe. You get the Alliance POV here. They push up towards the center camp, looking for control of the shed, trying to gain some high ground to play with. Ooh, nades right on target. The Molotov burning brightly. They're trapped behind the rock. Flax is already down. Quick peek from the second. Ventores should be able to close his way through them. Wants to get vicious. An assault here, looking to punish. Parajin, meanwhile, sees the rotation from NBE and detonates their wheels. So they're not getting anywhere quickly.
Yeah, for MBE, this is a really important game for themselves, alongside with Nigma Galaxy, who lose Ralph off the bat there, as U2 Alliance are dealing both with FaZe and Nigma Galaxy at the same time, but they are dwindling now. Forces really losing at an alarming rate. Flax comes over the top side with the DBS, finds at least one, but he just has to spray the DBS, doesn't have enough time to pull out his M4 there, but it will be Nigma Galaxy staying alive there with the 3 players, but 9 eliminations for U2 Alliance. They'll be pretty pleased with that one, but going down in 6th place will not give them that many placement points, and that's the difficulty at this stage in the game, with so many teams still remaining in. In the meantime, Reject are pushing in so quickly over towards this position, swiftly taking control. They haven't lost any players as of yet, and Lufa's on the top floor will drop back down again towards the garage side as they slowly pick apart the guys from FaZe.
Reject. They want to gain control of this compound. They want to take it for themselves, deal with the inhabitants that are there currently. And right now, Lufa strikes on the first, cleans the man up, taking them out of commission and keeping the pressure on FaZe. FaZe that are starting to rebuild, reset, getting the res off so they can play together. Attention focus on the man outside, but it's the people in the building that you need to be worried about. Drop down connection. Lufa tried to go for a hell of a play, but he's been slain. Mela replying back with a shotty as well. Good for 2 blank. Could have made that uncomfortable.
Mate, Mela has been an absolute firecracker of a player so far. Some unbelievable plays coming through. You know, as soon as he starts tapping that trigger at the speed at which he does and starts quick flicking towards these players, it could be a 1v3 no matter the situation. But luckily for Reject, they get out of there with 3 players left alive. Not an ideal scenario, but pretty good all things considered. NBE taking a lot of damage to Nigma Galaxy, 2 teams that really do not want to go out early here. In the meantime, Reject looking to stamp their ticket through to the last chance stage. What a nade over the top there. Luckily, Sarah just about lives it, knows he has to move away. Duello's down, 1 player remaining now for Reject.
This is all crumbling. It's all falling to pieces quite quickly. The dream for the Japanese side that they'd be able to revitalize themselves in the last 2 games of the day, be able to show up when it matters most, is quickly falling away from them. But maybe a window of opportunity, timing and attention taking off of them as you've got DX roaming in, putting the pressure on the aggravating squad that has been fighting from the top of the hill, giving Rejects at least a moment to breathe. But it's just Sarah. It's just one man with a big set of guns inside and outside of the lobby as he starts to scuttle his way around the shelf, looking for a peek up onto DX. Meanwhile, Freak aggresses downhill, puts the shots into MBEs and keeps the pressure on them. Blank. Sek as well taking damage. MBEs are going to expire quite quickly if this keeps up, and we're getting closer and closer to deciding who takes the chicken dinner here on Miramar.
Huge chicken dinner required here for Nigma Galaxy to keep themselves in the running going forward. And Freak finds the last player coming through from MBE and Akaze. Coops looks down towards Sarah, drops a Molotov, will reposition him, and Lamborghini would have spotted him if it wasn't for Lord, who makes it up towards 12 eliminations. DX, the only thing standing between them and a 25-point game now. Only 1 nade, 1 Molotov, a whole bunch of utility on the side of DX, and it would be a miracle run now for Nigma Galaxy to finish this one out with the chicken dinner in tow.
Now, don't forget DX's nades. They are so damn good, and this is why. They've got so many of them to use. Their comms for the timing on double nades is normally pretty picture perfect, and right now they are blowing Lord to pieces with it. You've got a nice knockoff onto Freak, looking to aggress the close on the damage done to Lord already. The shotgun's pulled out. Coops, he goes down for keeps, as that one's going to be DX snatching away the chicken dinner and securing themselves the opening win here on Miramar.
I mean, DX Xavier has been a team that we've not talked about too often, but they have just been really good today. Honestly, the amount of times we see them in the top 5 is sort of flabbergasting, honestly. I've been really impressed with this team, and that's coming from a guy that didn't really enjoy their playstyle back in the day about a year ago, and I think that quite comfortably I can say this is a very strong team, if not one of the strongest teams that has a great chance to get towards the